Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan. Welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. I just completely butchered my intro, so that's a good start for this evening. Just been sitting here in silence for a minute and a half because I had one of my sliders muted, unfortunately. So that's just fantastic. Yeah, you know, I leave for a week and I completely forget how to do this job, you know? You ever done that? Like, if you work retail and then you take a couple weeks, you're not real into your job, right? And like, you know the POS just okay, and then you leave for a month and you come back and you're like, I don't remember what any of these buttons do. Apparently, that's what this is like. Anyway.
Sounded good to me. I heard it from my
yeah,
end. Sorry, guys.
You and I were sitting here grooving and stuff, and nobody in the comments was like, hey, I can't hear anything. So, you know, I'm not blaming you guys, but, you know, next time feel free to criticize, because I'd fix it, because I didn't notice it. Anyway,
Well, I couldn't tell if the Captain Logan show was starting or if Seinfeld had kicked on behind me.
Yeah, that does sound like the opening to Seinfeld. Welcome, everybody. Thanks a bunch for tuning in on a Tuesday night. It's been a week since we've seen you. We took last week off. DJ is moved into his new house now. This is not his regular backdrop. You're seeing his living room right now because, as we speak, his office is being mutated into his into his office with his movie collection for his backdrop, which hopefully we'll get to see in a while. How long is that going to take? Because I know construction has begun.
Yeah, so if you didn't understand what Cap just said, because he said it in the most confusing way
possible.
possible.
I really did, yeah.
The shelves are being built.
Yeah,
in
the
my
shelves
office
are being
right
built.
Now. So yeah, we're going to get the movies up on the shelf. He's working on it. He just started today. So I think he said it'll take a few days, and then like he's going to paint Friday. So by next... probably not by Thursday, but by the next Tuesday show, I should have my movies up and it should be all set and I can film from my office and I don't have to sit out here in my living room.
Wow, just listen to the acoustics in that room.
Oh, it's probably so echoey. Sorry for the echo.
Oh, it's not horribly echoey. It's like it's a cool echo, but I did have kind of a flashback to Batman Begins. You know, like kind of cave sounds. Like, why bats, Master Wayne?
Yeah, when we were first checking out the house, I did go underneath and I fell into a well type cave looking thing and I was lifted up by bats and it was a whole thing.
Did that happen?
Yeah, it made moving day pretty fun.
That's not even are you sure it wasn't just a dream?
Yeah.
Or was it one of those kind of unsure things where you couldn't even tell if it was a dream? Like, oh no, Zack Snyder's directing my life again. I hate it when that happens. You know, I've never just started a live show over and then come back and started broadcasting, but man, I'm tempted to do that today. Anyway, welcome everybody. We have an exciting lead-in topic tonight. I announced early this morning that tonight's topic was going to be about the new YouTube program to allow people to use some copyrighted music, and I still really want to talk about that and the way they're competing with TikTok right now, because a lot of news came out just last week about their strategies and things moving forward. But then we found out about Deadpool 3. At first, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, I'm sure that's just rumor territory. And then intelligently, Ryan Reynolds put out a minute and a half video statement. So there's no room for doubt. This is absolutely happening. Hugh Jackman will indeed be in Deadpool 3. So we're going to talk about, and that's releasing in 2024. So that will be tonight's lead-in topic. And unless some other crazy, exciting thing happens, or just really juicy, interesting thing happens in the world of pop culture or superhero movies by Thursday, we'll go ahead and talk about the YouTube topic. There's another interesting bit of news that dropped today that I'm sure folks are going to want me to talk about. I would save it for Thursday, but I'm sure we'll get a question or a super chat about it, so we'll probably end up tackling that sometime during the show as well. And that is more insane stuff happening with Warner's Discovery. There's a lawsuit, DJ. It's fascinating. They can't possibly have the resources to fight it, because they're in such bad financial shape. So anyway, that have you heard about this? Do you know what I'm talking about? I'll just mention this real quick and then we'll talk about it later. But apparently they're being sued for cooking the books on how many subscribers they have on HBO Max.
I feel like every streaming service could be sued for that, probably.
Yeah, possibly. But this one is probably worse than anything else because apparently what they're, I guess I'm mentioning this now, apparently what they're doing is allegedly they're claiming that people who have AT&T that have HBO Max for free are HBO Max subscribers, folks that have not signed in or logged into HBO Max.
Wow,
And
that's
so that's what the case
shady
is
stuff.
about. Yeah, that's interesting. So I'm sure that'll come up more, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But anyway, let's go ahead and do a little bit of house cleaning stuff real quick before we move forward. First of all, thanks to everybody who made it last night. Superhero Rewind. I'm still a little bit out of sorts because I was working all day on that, and that was a late night. Talked 2.5 hours on Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I fine-tooth combed that, had a ridiculous amount of notes and things to say, but it was a lot of fun, and we had a nice crowd, and you guys staying up late with me for those. It means a lot. I really appreciate it. It's very encouraging to do the job and try to do the job well. So you guys are great, and I appreciate it. So I don't know, I'm in kind of a rewind mood. That's why I'm wearing the Superhero Rewind shirt. And behind me is the entirety of the superhero and comic book movie collection. When I say the collection, I mean my collection. It's not everything that ever exists, but it's a good amount of it.
Not yet, not yet.
Yeah, it's probably 70%. I mean, a lot of it's back there. And you've always been able to see the movie side of it. So this shelf, I'm a weatherman now. This shelf right now does not, with the purple, no longer has superhero DVDs and Blu-rays on it. That's actually sci-fi paperbacks now. I'm small enough, you probably can't really tell what's on that, and it probably looks more impressive than it is because those are not DVDs. But the two big IKEA bookcases, that's all the movies and the TV shows, and I didn't have the TV shows in the backdrop before, and so I've opened it up so that I can get some of my books in my office, was kind of the main reason I did it, but it's got the kind of added benefit of just being kind of a nicer backdrop, and I wish I'd done this a long time ago, because going back and looking at what I had before, it just looks really quaint and not as cool, and I know I am excited about it. It probably would have been classier to not even point it out, but I'm excited about it. And there it is. But I also wanted to mention it because in a couple of weeks, I'm going to finally do an update on the aforementioned superhero and comic book movie collection. People ask me to update that all the time. It's been several years since I've done a walkthrough of everything I own, and I've got a decent amount since then, probably, and I actually have a few things coming in the mail right now, which is part of the reason I want to do that. I'm starting to actively collect again, much more so than I have in a couple of years, so I'm excited to do that. That'll be in the rewind slot for Monday. And DJ, we haven't talked about this in a while, but you and I need to finally get get ourselves in gear and get the superhero movie score video done, because we've been talking about doing that forever, and even though I don't usually have guests on Rewind, I will probably just slate that as a Superhero Rewind, because that's a list video I would do on my own, but I'm totally cool doing that with you and just doing it in that slot. So let's try to make that happen before the year is out, at least. Because I know a couple months ago we were like, let's go ahead and do this, and then it didn't end up happening. So
yeah, sure, let's do it. I'll get my playlist back out and start listening to them again.
That takes a little bit of prep, but yeah. Anyway, then tomorrow night, Austin and I are doing a request on an anime film. I think it's Perfect Blue. Is that the name of that movie? Thursday is the Captain Logan show again, of course. And like I said, we're probably talking about YouTube news. And then Friday night, originally Austin and I were going to go ahead and do the 4th season of The Simpsons. And there's a couple of new things coming out that we want to do blind commentaries on. So we're going to stave that off for a couple of weeks. So Friday night, we're going to do a blind commentary on what I'm afraid will be kind of horrifying in not the scary movie way, but why am I watching this way? But hopefully it's better than it looks. But we're gonna watch the Rob Zombie Monsters, which just dropped on Netflix, and so folks will be able to watch that with us. And I thought that was only coming to video, but it did drop on Netflix. So we're gonna do that on Friday, and then the following Friday we're gonna do the also a blind commentary for the MCU Halloween special, Werewolf by Night. So that'll be the next 2 Fridays. Just wanted to let everybody know what was coming up, kind of some fun, exciting new stuff, and we're going to do kind of blind reaction video things on stuff that I think will be really fun to do in that format. So anyway, DJ, let's go ahead and get to the topic at hand. So this guy's coming back, and I don't, yeah,
not that.
well, not this guy. I guess
That's
he's
terrifying.
coming. He's horrifying, yeah. But oh, I'm sorry. Before we get into this, Matt,
It's a Chucky Wolverine crossover. That's amazing.
before we get to the nightmare fuel that is this, once again, I want to thank everybody for being here, and we're gonna do an Ask Me Anything show as we always do after we're finished talking about Deadpool 3. If you would like to have your question or topic discussed on air, you leave a super chat in any dollar amount that guarantees that we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about within reason, having to do with pop culture and the channel, anything you want to chat with us about. And if you don't want to do that or can't do that, you can leave a regular comment and ask a question or throw us a topic, and make sure to tag that at DJ Martinez, at The Welder, or at DJ will answer to any of those things and more, I am sure. I also forgot about Tattoo Talk with Cap, which I'll do very briefly. But last week, 2 big things happened for me. I got this project done, and I got this project done. Here is my Wrath of Khan Star Trek tattoo. I have 8 tattoos now, DJ, and I've been getting tattoos since last November, and I was just feeling kind of weird about not having anything Star Trek, and I poured for hours and hours over images trying to... Power Rangers, I could do all day long, dude. I could come up with like 100 different images for Power Rangers. Sonic is easy. If I want to do a Mario tattoo, that's easy. Ninja Turtles will be easy. This was really, really difficult to come up with an image that 100,000 other people didn't have, that I was cool having on myself permanently, and that was clearly Star Trek. So I almost got the Borg symbol, the red hand, and then I went, I want it to be more obviously Star Trek. But then the other thing I was looking at was the Gold Key comic logo, which just says Star Trek, and I went, well, that's a little too on the nose. So I finally, not a lot of people have this one. I finally landed on the badge from the TOS movies, from Star Trek 2 to Star Trek 6. And that's also kind of significant to me because, I mean, Wrath of Khan's one of my favorite movies of all time. But also I have, this is one of the coolest things I ever got to do on the channel. I got to interview Robert Fletcher, who did the costume designs for those movies, and of course this badge was part of that. I'm sure he didn't design this. I'm sure there was a graphic designer that did that, but it was part of the whole get-up, and that was a really special thing for me. So that was a part of the influence in doing that, and it's one of my favorites now. I'm really happy with it. Elmo did a really great job with the with kind of doing a color gradient on this, where it starts orange and it kind of becomes yellow. And anyway, I don't know how well you guys can see it, and it's a little bit because I got this last, I guess it's been almost a week now, last Thursday, so it's in the peeling phase right now, so not the best time to show it to you, but anyway, there it is. So yeah, so another tattoo, because I'm an insane person.
No, that's really cool. That's I'm glad it was a success.
I feel more complete now because I got Star Trek.
Yeah, you got Star Trek. You got an even 8.
That was very important to me. I mean, I'm not done, but I could stop now and I'd be happy.
Sounds good. Do you want to do our thoughts first, or should I do one of the super chats about Wolverine to get us started?
Well, why don't I just set this up real quick for anybody that hasn't heard about this? Like I said earlier, Hugh Jackman is definitely unequivocally going to be in Deadpool 3. That movie's coming out in 2024. Here are some titles of some of the articles. Gizmodo, Deadpool 3 will bring Hugh Jackman's Wolverine into the MCU. That was not a given to me until I watched the video that Reynolds put out, because
yeah, I saw that too.
like seeing that Hugh Jackman was definitely going to be in the movie, I was like, well, they could do anything they wanted to with this now. Like, especially because it's not officially part of Phase 4. Like, I had that thought where I was like, well, if they're not putting it in that slate, that's probably, now that we know that this is supposed to be more or less in MCU, and that was always kind of the talk, but I started questioning it once we got an official like date for it, because I was like, well, why wasn't that in the lineup for Phase 4? Well, it's rated R and it's intended for a different audience, so it'll be, technically MCU, but I'm sure it'll be so fourth wall breaking, and I imagine it'll be, multiversal in nature. I'll be surprised if it's not. I imagine it'll still be like the Deadpool movie's relationship with X-Men, where it's kind of its own world, but you've got Ryan Reynolds, breaking the fourth wall, constantly talking about all of the other things. But now, because of multiverse, he can also exist in those other places as well. So we'll talk a little bit about, and you guys feel free to leave your opinions, of course, about what you hope that movie is about, particularly in how it handles the Fox buyout and the fact that X-Men can now be used in the MCU and all of that. But yeah, so I saw that that title and immediately was suspicious, DJ. I was like, we're making an assumption there. And then in that video, did you watch that?
I did, yeah.
In that video, Ryan Reynolds, oh good, you did his homework. In that video, Ryan Reynolds, toward the beginning, goes, we wanted to make sure that Deadpool's first outing in the MCU was special, and that's couched inside of a joke where he's talking really seriously and kind of ethereally and really sappily about the project, and then the big joke is, I actually have no idea what this movie's about, except hey, look, there's Hugh Jackman behind me, and maybe he'll do this movie. Hey, you want to do this movie, Hugh? Yeah, sure. And that's all it is, which kind of harkens back to the after credit scene at the end of the first movie, the Ferris Bueller thing, where he's like, yeah, we know that we're gonna have who's that character? Why can't I think of the things right now? We're gonna have what's his face in Deadpool 2. That's all we know about that right now. Help me out. Cable. He was like, we got Cable. That's all we know. He's gonna be in this. We don't even know who's playing him yet. So that whole thing was pretty funny. But anyway, so even though that was couched in a joke, I'm sure he wouldn't say that unless it was, definitely actually MCU. And then there's another heading that I wanted to bring up from Bloody Disgusting. Deadpool 3, Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine one more time in 2024. Once again, I saw that before I saw that video, and I was like, well, now how do you know that? Because Hugh Jackman has retired from this role like 4 times, and he really needs to quit saying that, because once again, he's coming back, but that's, I mean, it reads like a clickbait title, kind of, but that is also a thing that Ryan Reynolds says in that video. He's like, do you want to come back and play Wolverine one more time? And, I want to say this time for sure, because of the nature of the whole thing and the fact that Wolverine was killed off in Logan, and that I'm sure this whole thing is going to be, again, about the weird place we're in right now with superhero movies. I imagine he'll be making fun of nostalgia bait and all of that. And also, in that franchise, we've sort of been leading to this. Every movie has included a not actor cameo for Hugh Jackman, right? Where Deadpool's always making fun of him, and in the first movie he wears that image on his, stapled on his face, and he talks about him again in the second movie, and he's mad at him because he got to get killed off. And so weirdly, we've that franchise has almost earned this. If you ignore all of the nostalgia bait stuff that's been happening with Marvel, and that's certainly got to be a part of it, I imagine. DJ, is this a thing that you find yourself remotely excited about? I know you're not a big Deadpool guy, but like, do you feel like they should have left it well enough alone after Logan, or is this the one way it's okay if he comes back?
No.
Just no.
Yeah, I don't. I like he was. You're gonna take the one actor who got the most perfect send off as a comic book character, and you're gonna undo it. I don't like that. But I'm not a big fourth wall breaking like humor alternate universe guy anyway, so that's not like a pass for me, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas where I could see some people like, well, he still died, and that's still the end, but this is just kind of like an Elseworlds thing. I don't. I was so excited to have just like a clean slate, not like with the X-Men, just all new, like just start from scratch with X-Men. Let's just completely start over because we never have ever since 2000.
Yeah.
And now it looks like we're still pulling back that old stuff.
So, as always, I want to reserve judgment to some degree until I see the thing, because I'm hoping that it's handled in kind of a Cullen Bunn sort of way. I'm hoping that this is kind of a Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe sort of thing. And if it's handled that way, and if it's not just fourth wall breaking, but meta about it, where it's about our world as much as it is Deadpool's world, and about like, that's a really famous Deadpool story. It's my favorite. There's good reasons to go to that material, especially right now. Like, this is the time to do that. Austin has said a lot that he would really like the next Deadpool movie to be Deadpool kills the Fox X-Men universe. Me too. I would love that. That'd be great. That's the kind of premise where I would be okay with bringing back Hugh Jackman and lots of other characters, because that'd be the point, and that would be giving us finally a proper send-off, albeit a comedic, humorous send-off for the Fox X-Men universe, because we never really got one, or rather we did, and then they kept going. In some ways, it sucks that we got anything, retroactively I'm saying this, it kind of sucks that we got anything after Days of Future Past, because I love Logan, but that would have been a wonderful way to just put the whole thing to bed. And
yeah, he's going to have a trilogy of send-off films.
That's absolutely right, yeah. Well, hey, you have a trilogy of Wolverine movies, each of which has nothing to do with the other one, so why not?
Hey, if it completes the send-off trilogy, I guess I'm excited. I mean,
that's great. I want to see that on a box set. The X-Men send-off trilogy.
The Hugh Jackman send-off trilogy, Days of Future Past, Logan, and Deadpool 3.
Oh my god, that'd be great. That's really funny. But I think there's some really creative things that could be done with that as a premise. And I'm not saying that if they don't do that, there's nothing else you could do with it. That's what I would want. Because of multiverse, you can bring in any version of Wolverine you want to, still played by Hugh Jackman. We don't have to come up with some way to resurrect him. That was set far in the future anyway, or not far in the future, but in the future, and we've already done it with Patrick Stewart. So I just, DJ, I'm getting kind of cynical about this sort of thing, where, like, I don't know if you can tell by my attitude, I'm not surprised by this at all. The rumor for a while has been Hugh Jackman's going to be in that movie, and that was, I think, on my part, it was wishful thinking that was wishful thinking. You know what I mean? That fans just really wanted to see Hugh Jackman one more time. And with respect to anybody that's excited about this, or people that really want to see all their favorite things come back years later, like with Spider-Man No Way Home, which of course was very popular. You and I are in the minority and not really appreciating that movie. You dislike it a lot more than I do. But with respect to those folks, I don't understand the attitude of, I need to see my favorite actor play this character one more time. Because how many times is enough, is the, you know what I mean? Like, well, he did it one more time, and he got a really great send-off, and, like, why do we have to, bring him back? I can see the argument a little bit more with Spider-Man No Way Home, if only that had been handled in a less contrived way, where, well, Garfield really didn't get an ending to his story, but he still didn't in that movie either, really, right? Like, if that movie
caught her. That was the end of his arc. He caught MJ.
if that movie had been a more of a triple protagonist piece, and we had been able to go to their universes as well, and we had been a little bit more creative about that whole thing and done it more like Spider-Verse.
Yeah, if only we had a movie, maybe with Spider-Man, where we'd already done this really well with multiple protagonists that we could look to.
Well, I thought the point you were going to make is we've done this already, so there's no reason to do it. But you're right. Like at the very least, couldn't we have looked at a movie that handled that really well? And that also wasn't really a. I mean, it was multiple protagonists in that it was kind of a dual protagonist movie,
yeah.
But the other Spider people didn't really all get character arcs, but they all got moments and things to do, and they didn't just show up in the middle of the movie and hang out for a while and have awkward conversations where there's lots of elephants in the room that you're wondering why people aren't talking about certain things and stuff, which was my experience with that. It was, to be fair, it was still more creative than I thought it would be, but my standards were just so on the floor with it because I had just seen Ghostbusters Afterlife, and I think if that movie had not come out yet, I would have probably disliked Spider-Man even more than I did. But I don't want to just sit here and bash that movie. I'm just saying that because of things like that, it's hard for me to get real excited about a thing like this and expect it to be handled in as clever and fun and creative a way as it could be. But if you're gonna do this kind of thing, Deadpool is the right material for it. It's just we're also doing it with everything, so it's not really special. Like, you still have Flash on the horizon, probably still going to release at this point, and so, like, we get to see Michael Keaton as Batman again, and we got to see the other Spider-Mans again, and we get to see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine again. So really, the only angle this can have being superhero parody to some degree and being, satire is like making fun of the corporate cynicism of it. And then the difficulty I have with that is, but it's the studio that has been really cynical about all of this, putting that movie out. It's kind of like the conversation we had about that Simpsons special.
Yeah, like we don't know how much of this was Ryan Reynolds' idea. He says it in that video, but who knows? Or if it's like they told him this is what he has to do for this third movie or something.
Well, and even if they didn't, even because to be fair, that's not really what happened with Spider-Man No Way Home either. If you believe Feige, where like they were just gonna do a fun Easter egg at the end of a different movie, and then they went, oh wait, what if we made that the same movie? Like, it's not like anybody told them they had to do. Well, I mean, I guess Feige is the executive that did that, but I mean, I kind of believe him when he says he just thought it was a fun idea, and then it wasn't like, we know this will make $2 billion. But the problem is, now that they have that precedent, it's really difficult not to believe that every time you hear of a thing like this, there isn't that kind of greedy printing money brain behind it in some degree. But again, like, I'm reserving judgment in that I think this could be really cool if only it's handled right, and it needs to be for sure the last time Hugh Jackman plays that role. I'm hoping that it's not somehow the Logan version of that character. I'd be really surprised if they did it that way. But I also don't really want it to be like Multiverse of Madness either, where it's just some other random Wolverine from another universe. I like Austin's idea. Austin doesn't want, and like it says, like Ryan Reynolds said, Wolverine. The logo has the 3 slashes in it, like I was gonna say like X3. I guess X3 was just the claws, but it kind of harkens back to that, right? Because it's a third movie and it's 3 Wolverine claws. But Austin before this said if he's got to come back, it'd be really cool if he would just play Hugh Jackman. As opposed to playing Wolverine. I think there's a chance he could do both, and that could be cool. Like, you could have kind of what is that Schwarzenegger movie where he
Last Action Hero?
Last Action Hero, yeah. I would pattern it after that. Where he's kind of both. You could
call it Last Stand Hero.
I think that could be fun. And then I want Deadpool, like, I want the writers to devastate Deadpool again in some way, and like I'm kind of writing a movie right now. But what I really like to see is pattern it after Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, where the merger happens and Deadpool is less happy with the writing than when it was under Fox. And he knows that there's a director and there's a writer behind it, and something happens to him that he's not happy about. Now, it is kind of weird. It would be kind of weird to do that now and not like when Vanessa died. I also kind of hope that she's just written out entirely, because I'm not happy with the way she was brought back in the credits in that last movie, and I don't even want that romance. And I love that romance in the first movie. They ruined it for me, and I don't want her back at all. I don't think. But anyway, but so it would be weird to do it after that movie. But I'd love to see some way contrived, believably, that Deadpool is upset with the new writing, and he goes after the writer or the director, and so like he's trying to get out of the movies and into the real world to murder the people who are like making things happen to him in his fiction, because that's what Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe is about. And I found that whole thing fascinating, and like I love fiction about the power of writing to like create what feels to us like real people, and the idea of like infusing them with a soul where they become self-aware is a fascinating concept that I never get tired of, and I'm hoping that that's what this movie's about. But anyway, what are folks saying about the topic, DJ?
All right, we got a super chat from Brandon Martin for $10. This was kind of about what we were talking about. I almost said this earlier. Will actors returning as old iterations of characters in new franchises become a trend like cinematic universes have? I can see it being the case with The Flash, No Way Home, and Doctor Strange 2.
Well, I mean, I think like 3 a pattern makes, so you could make the argument that it already
Well, this is 4 now.
Yeah, and within just a few years, right? Like, I mean, it will only be, what, 2, 3? I guess by 2024 it will have been 3 that you've had this happen 4 different times, and you sort of even had it in WandaVision with Quicksilver, even though it wasn't the X-Men version of Quicksilver, but like we were already kind of testing the waters and playing around.
Yeah, it's like they were testing the waters. They were like, "Oh, this will be fun," and then everyone on the internet ran away with it, like, "Oh, we have to go all the way with this."
Yeah. And then people got really sad when it turned out to have nothing to do with multiverse. Especially in a show that was also broaching the idea of multiverse at the same time. That was very awkward. I mean, there's a part, like, I was of two minds about it, because there's a part of me that liked sort of the subtlety of just having the actor and not really calling attention beyond that to, like, is more sophisticated than you might expect to the Fox X-Men universe. But then in the same show that you're broaching multiverse, and then after that the MCU does do the like CW DC thing where they're bringing in characters from other TV shows that weren't previously related retroactively, you go, well, okay, why didn't you do that then?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can watch WandaVision and still be happy with it, even though they did dumb things that I don't like afterwards.
Well, sure.
But I don't. It's interesting because this has always been a thing, right? Like we always do like comedies with, or like you come back and do a Dumb and Dumber like 20 years later, or Zoolander or whatever. But yeah, this is like 4 in a row, like in rapid succession, specifically with superhero movies, and it's only happened with Marvel so far. Because we don't know if The Flash is ever going to come out.
Well, and it's different than just coming back and doing another season of something 20 years later, or more, like is about to happen, by the way, with Quantum Leap, which no one will watch. You just watch
and National Treasure.
Really? Yeah,
and Willow.
Yeah, Willow. Well, I thought Willow was just another one of those kind of reboot things.
No, it's I can't remember the actor's name.
Oh, is it in continuity?
I think so. I mean, I know I saw the actor in a promo photo, but I don't know anything about it.
You've even got other and of course, some things are managing to win over audiences and are pretty successful, but like 90% of them are not, right? So like very few things are a Cobra Kai.
Or a Top Gun Maverick. Nothing is
Yeah.
a Top Gun Maverick. That's that's the only thing.
I'm
that's
finally going to
only
watch
movie-
that this week, by the way,
Oh,
guys.
okay.
Yeah, I was going to watch it over the weekend, and because it's finally come to a decent rental price, and we were going to watch it Saturday or Sunday, and my wife was like, "Well, let's watch the first one again first before we watch that." I was like, "Okay," so we did that, and then this week we're going to finally watch Maverick. But what I was going to say is, you even have, and I guess we shouldn't be surprised by this, but you even have other companies trying to like jump on the bandwagon with the Cobra Kai thing. Did you know that? And I've heard not one person say anything about this. I don't think anybody's watching the show. But DJ, did you know that Disney Plus is doing this with Mighty Ducks?
Wait, I knew they did like a Mighty Ducks thing, but they're actually bringing back the main guy?
Yeah, they already did. He's in the promo pictures on Disney Plus. Season 2 is about to drop like next week or in a day or two. Like there's already a season of it. Emilio Estevez is in that show.
Well, you got to do it. You got to do it. That's what brings in the subscribers, man.
But of course, the difference with the MCU, and again, the CW got ahead of it first. It's just unfortunate that it wasn't good, and that's why. And I mean, a few of the things they did with Crossing Things were neat, but it wasn't worth the rest of it. Like what they did with the original Flash TV show was actually kind of classy, but most of the rest of it was awful. And like what they did with Smallville was really, really bad. I don't like to talk about the Batman thing, but is that your front door?
Why is someone ringing my doorbell at 9 o'clock at night? That was creepy. I'll be right back, I guess.
Okay, all right. Well, this is what happens when you broadcast from your living room, I guess. Let's all stop and watch DJ answer his door. Oh, I thought maybe his front door was back behind him, but I guess it makes sense that it's not. I wasn't thinking about that right. I really thought he was going to walk right back there to that door and open it, and we were going to see someone, like, deliver a pizza that DJ didn't order, or watch it be someone trying to offer him, like, roof services or something. Who was that?
So sorry about that. My wife ordered food from upstairs. Did not know that.
It's really funny. I even just said, like, I wonder if he's getting a pizza that he didn't order. Yeah, I wasn't thinking about it right, DJ. I was wholly expecting you to walk to the door behind you and open it.
Oh,
like I wasn't even thinking about that right, because I know you said the kind of entryway that you have, but for a second I wasn't thinking about that. It was just, there's a door right there.
Oh, those are windows.
No, the door that's right behind you.
Yeah, that is the basement door.
Yeah.
And then my office is around that corner over there. But
okay, and then upstairs is just bedrooms, probably.
Yeah, upstairs is 3 bedrooms and a playroom.
We're gonna get the whole layout of DJ's
I'll just do.
house.
I could have just did this whole video just walking and talking.
That's true. You could have. DJ has a movie theater in his house.
I do. Maybe
It's
I'll watch
really
Maverick. Neat. Is it streaming?
What's that?
Maybe I'll watch Maverick. Top Gun Maverick. Is it streaming yet? Or is it
no? It's
rental?
You can rent it for $5.
Oh, okay. I mean, it won't be the same as as a gigantic movie theater, but it's pretty nice. We got a 4K projector and a 100-inch screen.
It looks good. Yeah.
Surround sound.
Yeah, it's the exact same size as at least one of my screens. I think this one's a little smaller, but the one I have upstairs is the same size. But it's neat to have a room like that. Especially
it sounds great because the sound is all around you
bet.
and it's like nice and condensed.
Yeah. Does it have surround sound built in already, or do you have to put speakers in?
No, they already had it all set up.
Oh, that's
super
great.
nice.
I mean, are they good? Because I know you had to replace your projector.
The speakers sound good. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there is better speakers, but we have never had surround sound before, so it's a big upgrade for us.
No, that's really neat. Yeah, but yeah, he sent me pictures of it, and it is cool looking. But anyway, well, let's see what other folks are saying about this topic. And of course, folks, feel free to start leaving super chats and other comments. I'm seeing them pouring in already, and we'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about for the remainder of the show. And you can even ask Wolverine questions. Here he is. Years ago, when I got this guy, because I was very silly in high school. I was working in a movie theater, and I used to. I'm sure this irritated the crap out of people, DJ, but occasionally I would do voices for people when I was selling them popcorn. And one day I decided to go like full on Sean Connery, and nobody ever said anything. They would just like hand you their money, and that was
Like,
it. Like that's just how you talk, right?
Just give me your popcorn, dude. What are you doing?
No, they didn't even seem to be bothered by it. It was there was for instance there was one day where maybe I've told this story before where this guy that I was working with and I decided to just say like I think Hulk was out, the Ang Lee Hulk, and we would tell people what their bill was, and then we would sneak in Hulk smash like real fast and see if anybody would notice it. So we'd be like, that's gonna be $12.75 Hulk smash. We did it all day long. No one ever said anything. We just kept doing it. We were like what size popcorn would you like Hulk smash? Like we just kept doing it.
I thought you were gonna do like a Nick Nolte impression for them, and that would have been very frightening. Speaking of Hulk Smash, my son, I believe, still thinks his name is just Hulk Smash, and I refuse to correct him because every time he points to him or calls him that, he says Hulk Smash. I think his last name is Smash to him, and it's amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. But yeah, I gave this Wolverine a Sean Connery accent, and so like I have a friend of mine that I would just crack up with that constantly. Like I took him to the movie theater once with X2, and before the movie started, I was very silly in high school, and but before the movie started. I don't know why
he's had that since high school. That's amazing.
He couldn't say, yeah, I've had this 20 years. He couldn't stop saying precisely.
You've had a longer relationship with this toy than with your wife.
That's true. By like, I don't know, a couple months. But because I met Sarah in September and I probably got him in like July.
Yeah, he's a July looking toy.
But you'd say something to Wolverine and he'd be like, precisely. And,
gosh, those eyebrows.
I know.
Creepy looking.
He's really terrifying.
Like, can we all agree? As long as he doesn't show up in that suit in Deadpool 3, then we can be happy.
Yeah, but he's gotta wear a costume finally, right? Like that's gotta be. Austin said this to me, and I agree with him. I bet that's 70% of the reason Reynolds wants to do it. Is not 70% because he and Hugh Jackman get along. And honestly, I meant to say this earlier. I think it will be fun seeing them on screen together in that kind of chemistry. Like forgetting my reservations about like just nostalgia bait again and doing that to get butts in seats. The fear of being creatively bankrupt. I really don't think it has to be. I think there are really cool things you could do with that. But it will be fun to see them do kind of the buddy cop thing. But I'm sure some of it's got to be just, how did we not get him in that suit in the Wolverine? Not this suit, but like the traditional yellow, costume.
Come on, man. We had it in the briefcase. What do you want? You want him to wear it too, guys? Come on.
Well,
and that was a deleted scene too.
I was going to say it could have at least been in the film. Like, no, that would have been okay. It wasn't even in the movie. It was 15 seconds, and they didn't even. It wasn't even an after-credit scene. It's not in the movie.
And why did they cut it? Like, was it too silly? Because have you seen the Wolverine? Like, that is a super silly movie. Like,
there's silly stuff in that movie. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, he basically fought the Shredder from the 2014 Ninja Turtles movie, like as Silver Samurai. Come on, maybe they came out the same year. When did the Wolverine come out?
2013.
Okay, so it even predated that. Okay. So Shredder was being Silver Samurai then.
Yeah.
This guy is like the villain of a Toy Story movie we've not made yet, right?
It's like, look at that waistline though. He's so fit. Like his shoulders to waist to hips are like huge.
He works out a lot. But yeah, this is an approximation of that flight suit, right? Or is this the X3 suit?
Yeah, that's the X3 suit.
It is, isn't it?
That's when because the suits in 1 and 2 were literally all black, and then in X3 like, hey, we'll finally give them what they want. We'll add colors to the suits.
if that's true, I've not had this for 20 years. Because that movie comes out in 2007. But I really thought I had this when X2 came out. But if you're right, I couldn't have. Because those suits had, like, the colored lines for it. So he had, like a yellow or orange lines in his suit that was supposed to just kind of, approximate a Wolverine wears this guy. I don't know what's orange, though.
And Iceman had blue. Yeah. And Kitty Pryde had, like, pink.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Little Power Ranger colors. Okay, Robert Wild.
It's morphin' time. Let's go ahead and get to some super chats. Thanks, buddy.
Robert Wild, $2. Hope this is just a one-off and in the classic suit. So yes, he agrees.
Yeah.
He wants the classic. I'm assuming he means yellow. I mean, classic could mean multiple things with Wolverine because you got the brown. That's even older.
That's true. That could be cool too. I'm hoping, and this is wishful thinking. We almost certainly won't get this. And I think maybe I've even suggested this before. I would love this movie to establish something for MCU X-Men moving forward. It is weird Hugh Jackman saying when Logan came out, like, like we have a great send-off for this character. This is the movie I always wanted to make, and I believe everything he said with that. I don't think this is him coming back because he feels like there was anything left on the cutting room floor. I think literally the only way he would come back would be to just pal around and be silly with Ryan Reynolds. But I think it's interesting that back then he kept saying, it's time for someone else to play the character. He said that in multiple interviews, and it would be really classy if this movie established a new Wolverine actor, and I don't think that'll happen, but I would love that. At the same time, I don't know that you could even trust that that's whoever we did it with, that's who would play it moving forward, considering that Feige keeps saying it's going to be several years before we finally get to their version of X-Men, and considering that they did establish an actor for Reed Richards, and apparently already they're recasting it, so... AMC says, no cap, that is an X1 or X2 costume. Last Stand suit is yellow instead of orange and has a giant X in the chest area. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not thinking about it right.
Interesting.
Just right now in the moment. I'm telling you, I definitely had this in 03.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and there's every possibility that they made the toys more colorful. Like, even if those colors were there in the movie, those movies are so muted that it's probably not as prominent.
Yeah.
But yeah, Billy the Kid. Well, and the other part of that, Robert Wild, was that he hopes it's just a one-off. But we talked about that too at the beginning.
Yeah.
Hoping that it doesn't.
No, I mean I do too. But like I said, I can't help but be a little bit cynical about this now. Like, anytime something is the last thing, I don't trust that we won't bring it back. As long as Picard has taught us this. As long as an actor is alive and there's money to be made, there's always the potential, no matter how much integrity you think that actor has, that enough money can be thrown at their feet that they will come back no matter how ill-conceived a notion the project is, and no matter where the director or executive's heart is in making the thing. I don't trust that X-Files won't come back one more time or 5 more times. I don't trust anything. I don't trust that every Spider-Man's not going to spin off into his own franchise again. Anything is possible.
Yeah, we can still hold out for that last before trilogy movie to turn it into the before quadrilogy.
I don't even trust that Robin John Blake doesn't still get a Batman movie.
Well, I mean, he's pounced back onto the scene with his portrayal as Jiminy Cricket. So.
Yeah, I know.
So he's all the rage again after
Couldn't
that
even tell it
performance.
was him. Yeah, apparently he's been doing stuff, but it's just been small enough I haven't heard about it.
Yeah,
we're talking about Levitt, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Mm-hmm. Billy the Kid, $2. I hope Wade and Logan go to White Castle. It's back. It's back, ladies and gentlemen. We've brought it back.
I wish that was the name of the movie. No. So we'll find out that that's the reason they're establishing that in Ironheart. So that's how you'll know that it's squarely in the MCU. One thing I do really appreciate, because this wasn't a given, and I meant to mention this earlier, DJ, I do like that it is squarely Deadpool 3. I thought almost certainly it would be Deadpool : something rather, like getting away from the Fox franchises, entirely, and that this would be like a soft reboot for Deadpool. And now that it's called Deadpool 3, and we've known for a while now that it's definitely rated R, but since it's not, even if it is supposed to be MCU, the fact that it's not in the Phase 4 lineup and all of that really gives me hope, and I kind of trust a little more that that Reynolds is kind of given some carte blanche and being allowed to kind of do it the way he wants to do it, and it will be, I'm sure, at this point, a true sequel to those movies, and that's why I think it's going to be about, hey, all of a sudden, I'm stuck in this universe with all these characters that the people that were making my movies didn't even have the rights to before. What the heck is happening? Like I want it to be kind of, you know, the flip side of a No Way Home. And I think there's a good chance that it is that. But I do think that there's kind of a promise that I keep saying Reynolds. I mean, he has a lot of, you know, creative control with this stuff, even though he's not directing it. But he's a co-writer with all of these. I think he's making a promise to his fans when he puts 3 at the end of that. And if he sticks to that and he you know, holds to that promise, I think it's kind of classy that they're calling it that. Because I don't know about you, but like I said, I don't think that was a given.
Yeah. Well, the only problem is now people are going to be like, well, technically the first film in the MCU was now X-Men 2000 because these universes are connected. Because you had all those people that when No Way Home came out, they were like, well, Spider-Man 2002 is technically the first film of the MCU now. I'm like,
yeah, stop that.
That's not how it works.
No, that's not how it works. How easy is it retroactively? What you're talking about is a conceit, right? You go, well, we have this you know, supernatural concept that allows us to retroactively bring in anything we want to. So yes, technically you can go, everything is canonical with everything else, but it's a cheat. It's too easy. Like, you could do that with anything as long as a company had the rights to it. So no, that doesn't count. And actually, I feel like I can I don't even have to just roll my eyes and go, that's annoying, stop it, as the argument. Here's the argument. It's not the first MCU movie, because U stands for universe, not multiverse. Right?
It's the first MCM movie.
Yeah, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is a universe. And you can retroactively go, it fits in the same continuity, overall multiverse with all these other movies. Okay, fine. So you can say Spider-Man is the first movie. This is such a dorky conversation. Spider-Man from '02, Sam Raimi Spider-Man, is the first retroactively movie in a, you know, larger swath continuity of all these Marvel movies. You can say that. You can't call it an MCU movie. And all we have to do is be silly enough eventually to go back to something before that. Like Roger Corman Fantastic Four. Now that's the first one, you know? Like, Dolph Lundgren shows up and plays Punisher for 5 seconds. Now that's the first one. Like, I don't know. You can do anything you want to as long as you have the rights to it.
Yeah, I think Howard the Duck is the furthest we can go back, unless you like go to serials or something. But if
can I go on the record and say I'm so for that? I'm really for that. It's too bad the actor who played the villain in that guy, I think he got Me Too'd, because it would be really a coup if he came back and was like, hey, I'm not in my universe, I'm somewhere else! People in the comments are correcting me on Phase 4. It didn't occur to me that we would already be to Phase 5 by 2024, but we actually had that conversation about how quickly the phases are changing now. So yes, that would be Phase 5. But am I right about that? That's not been in any of the, you know, Venn diagrams of MCU movies.
Yeah, because they let him announce it, which was cool of them to save it.
Yeah, it is kind of weird that it wasn't at D23, and he didn't have any explanation for that. He just kind of, and I can never tell when he's joking or not. Like, at the beginning of that video, he says, you know, sorry we didn't make it for D23, and I'm like, literally all you've done is put Hugh Jackman walking up a staircase behind you and say he's going to be in this movie. Like, why couldn't you have done that at D23? Like, did it take up until 2 weeks after that before you got him to sign on for it? Or did you just really need both of you in the same place and you couldn't make that happen at D23? So you couldn't have just sent that video to that only happened 2 weeks ago.
It feels like they had that video edited and made, and then a leak happened or something, and then he was like, oh crap, it's leaked. I'm going to drop this video right now, because it dropped 2 hours ago, and the leak was like from a little bit before that, right? Because you sent me, I don't know, was it leaked, or did that video was the first thing anyone heard about it?
all the articles I saw mentioned the video. I assumed that that was the announcement and that it wasn't a leak. Was it a leak?
I don't know. No, it probably was the video then, because
Okay.
it did drop like not 2 hours ago, but 2 hours ago when I saw it, which was a couple hours ago now.
Yeah, no, we got on this real quick, and I want to thank
look at
Austin
us.
for letting us
Crack
know about
reporting.
it. Because he says to me, he goes, "You guys are gonna have a big show tonight," and I'm like, "Crap! I've already established the topic for tonight. I had the video set up. Like,
Yeah, you had the thumbnail in and everything.
we were ready to go." Thanks for helping me get that, get tonight's video retcon.
Yeah, we had to do that. We'll get to that video eventually though.
Mutale saying it didn't leak. That was the announcement. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Interesting. Very weird. I mean, that's
The
very
timing
Ryan
is
Reynolds.
strange. You're only 2 weeks after D23. I don't understand that.
I guess they just were too packed. He didn't make the cut for D23.
He didn't make the cut, but a fake announcement from Homer Simpson about a Simpson shared universe that was 10 seconds later made clear that that was just a joke. Like, they had time for that. Okay, that was exactly the same length as what Ryan Reynolds did.
It might be a part of the whole thing, a part of not wanting to include it in the lineup, because, like you said, it's an R-rated thing, and they kind of want to keep it separate from Disney proper. So I don't know.
Devontae Brown says it wasn't leaked. Rumors were wishful thinking. Yeah, but that was. I mean, we get rumors all the time that sound, ridiculous and silly. And sometimes there are things where I'm like, that'll never happen, but most of the time, like I said, because I've gotten cynical about all of this, I'm like, well, anything is possible. And so when a thing like this happens, this one didn't sound crazy to me, even though Hugh Jackman said he'd never play Wolverine again, because he said that lots of times and kept playing Wolverine. I'm punching my microphone. People need to stop retiring from things, okay? Just in general. Like, actors should never say never because, again, like, suitcases of money come to them. And they end up playing them again. Like, the only thing
that's interesting.
that I am pretty sure of at this point is that we'll never see Mr. Sinister on screen before I die. That's the only thing. I'm kidding. But yeah, so
I mean, how long is it before we see Tony Stark again or Robert Downey again?
Right. Well, it's hasn't that already been confirmed that he's going to play a version from another universe? One of them, Captain America or Iron Man. I think it was Iron Man. Was that confirmed or is that just a rumor? I don't remember now. We didn't report on it. We didn't talk about that on the show. But that was a few weeks ago that I saw an article about that. But yeah, like, fans will always feel vindicated when something they guessed at turns out to be true. It doesn't mean they had an insight. You know what I mean? It's just that if something has a chance at selling, then there's a good possibility that a company will try it, Yeah.
People are saying in the chat that James Mangold is throwing shade on Twitter, which is hilarious.
Oh, everybody says that Stanley Mutale Plushie DX saying Chris Evans' Hydra Cap was the rumor. That's not what I heard. I heard Iron Man from another universe being part of a team in maybe the next Avengers movie or maybe one of the Disney Plus shows. I can't remember what, but I'm pretty sure it was an Iron Man thing. But clearly this must have just been a rumor. If none of these guys know what I'm talking about, there's no way this is news.
Well, one other thing that we can confirm here is that Marvel Mania is never coming back.
Oh, don't say that. Why are you saying that?
I don't know. It's just gone off the rails. There's just so much.
It has gone off the rails. Well, okay, but here's the thing. There's a glass half empty and a glass half full way to look at this, okay? The glass half empty way to look at it is there's too much material. Not enough of it is really striking us. We're not as invested in the MCU as we used to be, and we don't necessarily feel like doing it, right? That's the glass half empty. The glass half full way to look at it is people love Marvel Mania, and we could put our best foot forward and do it, and we could do one every year now if we wanted to, because there's so much of it. Like, we used to have to wait 4 or 5 years. Not anymore. We could do one next Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially if we do the shows. We could. They have
We
tons
are
of
not.
content.
This is not us announcing that we'll never do Marvel Mania again. Thank you, DJ. This is also not us announcing that we're going to be doing it next Tuesday.
Oh, well, that was you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Stop retiring things, DJ. Dragon 5 says.
Stop retiring things. God, you're just as bad as this guy. Precisely.
Oh, gosh. I hope I'm not as bad as that guy.
Is your head made of plastic, but the rest of you is squishy?
I can't even make that face. Oh, man. TH1.
Was that Macaulay Culkin as Wolverine? Could you imagine?
I wouldn't
he's
put it
like,
past them. Disney owns both now. They're both Fox properties.
That's true. They're just gonna start mashing up everything, like Wolverine, Home Alone. How's that different than usual?
He's a loner. That's what he does.
But
Not in the movies. He's always.
I'm the best I do. I'm the best there is at what I do, and what I do is hitting thieves with paint cans. Can you imagine Macaulay Culkin's like, ah, and then claws come out of his hands?
Yeah, well, it's like the X-Men Origins Wolverine, and he accidentally like slices everything.
God, DJ, the porn bots are back.
The bots are back.
The bots are back in town.
We've got to make the welder
I hate them.
a moderator again, so I can handle those for you.
Are you not? Are you not?
No, my normal account is, but my welder account is not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll fix that.
Because then I could just pop those out.
I also should probably just see if anybody's interested in being mods, because I see much larger channels than myself that stream all the time, and like I stream 5 days a week now, and I don't have this that always have like mods in the comments, so that the actual host doesn't have to do that kind of thing. And I'm like, maybe I should put my feelers out and see if anybody wants to do that. Like, we've always got at least a few people in a stream. Like, I could probably most of the time have someone doing that. But
yeah, anybody want a mod?
Yeah, let me know if you're interested, and then I'll figure out how to do that, because I don't actually know how to set that up, but I'll figure that out.
All right.
Or is it the same thing as just what I did with your account? Like,
I think an admin and a mod are different, because an admin I can actually like go into the.
Yeah, you can go screw up my whole universe, actually.
Yeah, how have I not done that? I've been an admin for like 4 years now, and I haven't messed with anything.
I am not gonna sleep well tonight.
See now, but I'm scared if you get hacked or like your channel gets deleted or something, then you're gonna go straight to me or whoever else.
After you. Nah, I trust you unless it happened. If we had this has never happened. If we had like a big knockdown drag out fight, and then the very next day it was like your channel has been deleted, I don't think you'd have the ability to delete the channel. But like if we had videos that were missing suddenly, like the next day, like there's just no spawn year, and then I'd be like,
Gosh.
And then I'd be like, okay, DJ, I thought I trusted you, but the timing is very convenient. Like 5 hours later, 2 in the morning, you just decided you weren't going to take it anymore. You deleted spawn year.
Now someone's going to frame me. Someone's going to hack in, and I'm going to get blamed for it.
Yeah, I really need to stop giving people ideas. Frankly, we need to keep our nose to the grindstone and just answer questions on the show and do nothing else. Like, we need to stop announcing things. We need to stop like coming up with theoretical ways to ruin each other's lives. Like,
well, I blame the sex bots. The sex bots got us completely off track.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, we've actually been talking about that for a good 4 minutes now. Yeah,
we are an hour. What are you going to call that timestamp?
Yeah, that could be anything at this point. I'm going to call that timestamp "The Bots Are Back in Town." So
there you go.
DJ, how many more super chats do we have at the moment? We're an hour into the program.
We've only got 2, so
okay.
Make your voice heard if you want to.
If you're so inclined, take us in any other direction, folks. Anything besides sex bots. Go ahead.
Well, leave it to TH1. He says,
"Oh God,
I said that about Mighty Ducks last year. Why does no one listen to me?" Gosh, they even brought back Foggy actor in his role. Great show tonight, guys. Oh wow, the Foggy Nelson actor who was in Mighty Ducks. He was in that show too.
The Foggy Nelson actor. Oh, you mean from the Netflix show?
Yeah, from the Netflix show.
Okay, because otherwise I'd think you'd just say Favreau. I was like, are we talking about was Favreau in Mighty Ducks? He's like, no, the Foggy Nelson actor. Oh, because I don't actually know his name.
Yeah, no one knows his name. So we just call him the Foggy Nelson.
We're gonna look it up because he's a good actor.
Well, he just called him the Foggy actor,
which
could mean anything. That could be any number.
That's true.
Of people.
He could have memory problems. Like,
you could just always have a constant mist of clouds.
Eldon Henson.
Oh yeah, I'm never gonna remember that.
No, he
It's gonna go
sounds
right
like
out.
he works with Muppets,
Eldon
which I'm
Henson.
sure he's never heard before.
Oh yeah, that's unfortunate.
Oh, that must have been one of his first roles.
Yeah, he was a kid, and they brought him back, so he was like an older version.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course he's a kid, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know that he did anything even before that.
We listened to you, Tom. That was just a long time ago. Like,
It was.
you expect us to remember a year ago? We answer so many of these questions.
Yeah, and I haven't looked at that show because I don't care about Mighty Ducks, but I saw the first two movies when I was a kid. None of that sticks with me. Like, it made no impression on me whatsoever. I remember the logo being cool, but that's it. But
I remember the like '90s animated, like actual muscly ducks version, better
which is
than the
on
actual...
Disney Plus. You can watch that.
Yeah, I had an action figure. I had the big, like, huge, muscular, bulky one, and the figure would like.
I thought about doing a mini marathon for that show. That show had a really good toy line. You are absolutely right. Those were cool.
I had that one, and I had like these, like, some, I think because I went to a lot of flea markets as a kid. I grew up with a lot of just random one toy of a line. Like I had that, and I had none of the other ones. I had the Wolverine that was a wolf. Have you ever seen that? It's an awesome figure. That's a Wolverine. No, not that Nightmare. He's like turns into a werewolf. It's like werewolf Wolverine.
I know just what you're talking about.
That figure is awesome.
Yeah.
I had just a bunch of random one-off figures growing up, and
Did you have Captain Planet?
I did not have Captain Planet.
Did you have Swamp Thing?
There was a Swamp Thing figure?
This would have been before your time, but the Swamp Thing figures were from the animated series, and a lot of them were color change. Like, a lot of them interacted with water and stuff. I had friends that had them. I never had those. I was just throwing out random stuff. Oh, did you have Pirates of the Caribbean? Because that's a thing that we've been talking about a lot lately after we did that commentary, is the toy line for that. One of our viewers found, I think it was maybe Robert Wild, found his old collection and took a picture of it and sent it to Austin, and he had like 20 of those toys.
Oh, was there good toys for that? That would have been a little bit past my time.
Mine
I did
too.
have the X-Men 1 figures, and I remember very distinctly taking my Cyclops.
I still have some of those.
I don't know why. I took my Cyclops out to like a big dirt pile. Like I used to play, there was like this big dirt pile that I came across. Like, oh, that's a cool place to play with action figures because it's like this really cool dirt pile. And then I lost his stupid visor. Why would you make that removable? They made his like little sunglasses visor from X1 removable on a figure, and it's like this big, and I lost it. And I looked forever in that dirt pile, and I never found it. It's very upsetting. I just had got him.
And it's just like projectiles that shoot out of vehicles. You know kids are going to lose that. There's no way to hang on to that.
But at least that is like a... There it is! Yes, that's the one I have. Such a cool toy.
Yeah.
Marvel Legends needs to make an updated version of that.
Okay, so I told you that I was familiar with that. I don't think I ever saw the transformation version because at the store, I saw it in package all the time. And in package, you don't see that. So like you see the transformation on the box, but it's even cooler when you see both of them because that is a decent transformer. I had Ninja Turtles figures that did that too.
Oh yeah, the ones that were like big bulky shells, and then you took them out and they were little skinny, like new turtles. Do you know what those are called? Because I had those as a kid, and I really want to find them. I don't know what they're called.
They are. It's on the tip of my tongue, and I will come up with it before the show is over. But you know what's funny about those? They also made them for other characters. And I have this too. There's at some point, just to be self-indulgent, DJ, we'll go through some of my old action figures. I'll pull out a big toy box, and we'll go through some of those because I still have a lot of that stuff.
That's cool. I wish I had more of it than I did.
I don't know why I've never made.
I mean, I pulled out some the other day. I pulled out the big Silver Surfer and Wolverine ones that I had.
With
the talking ones.
It's got the word mutation in it. I can't remember. Anyway, but there's a Splinter that turns into Hamato Yoshi.
Oh.
And I have that. There's a Shredder that turns into Super Shredder.
Oh, that's amazing.
That was pretty cool. And then there was this bizarre, because it's like they had to do it for all the major characters. So they had an April that turned into like a weird ninja April. Like she didn't mutate, she just was wearing a different costume.
Well, yeah, girls just change clothes. That's what they do.
Yeah, but you'd think, well, just make a doll for that.
People are saying answer the questions, guys. Hey, we're talking about toys.
Look, we're on topic. It's geeky, you know.
This is now an objectivity.
No, you're right. We'll get back to it. I'm just trying to find what these things are called. Oh, it's just mutations. Okay. I thought it was cleverer than that. I knew it had the word mutation in it, but yeah, that's all it was, DJ. There's a picture. Look at your screen.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of something
Oh,
different.
actually, and these are the ones for 2012 because 2012 went back to all the cool stuff 87 did and did it again, but this was essentially what they looked like. So this was the Raphael. I still have these pizzas, and I have a bunch of these vials of ooze. I probably have like 8 of those in a toy box.
Yeah, I was thinking of something different. That they didn't turn into turtles. They were big. They were normal looking Ninja Turtles and kind of like bulky. And then when you opened up their shells and like flipped them around and their shells came off, they were like skinny, like new looking Ninja Turtles. I don't know what they were.
Oh,
I
weird.
Never find them.
Okay, that
because they weren't connected to a show at all. They were just like turtles were just so big in the 90s. They had like these. Oh, they were so weird. I wish I knew what they were called. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? I'm not even doing a good job of explaining it because they don't make any sense. They were never seen on a show.
No, you didn't have to be in the show to have an action figure with that. Well, and of course, they made a lot of figures that they then translated into characters. They made a bunch of these, and like so many, apparently there were some I didn't even know about, DJ. Check this out. Frickin' Razar has one.
Oh. Well, yeah, they came in the show.
No, I know, but had a mutation.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Like I had the token Razar figures, but they even did mutating ones where they turn into the snapping turtle and the wolf or whatever.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. They actually just released those Toko and Razar again.
How many viewers have we lost? Let's see.
Toy talk. What are we doing? This is so unlike us. We never talk about this.
No, that's why it's fun. Okay, let's get back to the super chat, shall we?
New. Let's do it. All right, Reaper Cheap.
Oh, real quick, just because it's related, Chewbacca's Lover put in a $2 super chat and says, I had that Raphael figure, still might same toy. Yeah, it was one of my favorites. And I just love the colors on those. They were really vibrant, and they had some of the better facial expressions for those toys. Yeah, that one was probably one of, if not my favorites. And I also, actually, Mikey was playing with this the other day. For some reason, this one's not in that toy box and is just out, and my kids are playing with it. But I had and Raphael as an astronaut. I don't know if you remember that one, but those were cool. Anyway.
Yeah, so I've been buying all the I have most of my Marvel Legends still, but I've been buying some new ones for my kids to play with. And I almost sent you a picture the other day, Cap, because my daughter really likes the 90s Spider-Man comics, apparently, because she was playing with Scarlet Spider and Carnage.
Oh, man.
Were her two figures of choice.
That is a kid after my own heart right there.
I almost sent you the picture. I should have. But you were taking your hiatus, so I'll let you lie. Reaper Cheap 775. Hi, Cap.
Hi.
At the end of The Dark Knight, do you think Batman broke his own rule and killed Two-Face, or are we meant to think it was an accident? It's always been unclear to me. Oh, okay. Getting into the nitty-gritty stuff.
I don't think it's quite as ambiguous of a question as the ethics of The End of Begins. Of I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you, that whole thing, which I've always gone back and forth on. But help me break this down, DJ, because if memory serves, because it's been a little while, like, he leaps at Two-Face. I think he just... My assumption was always that you have lighting for the audience's benefit in scenes like that, but it's actually darker than it looks to us. So he just doesn't even realize that they're gonna go like 8 feet and land like on the ground. I don't think he knows where he's gonna land. Like, doesn't Two-Face just die because it's a far drop? Isn't that all that happens?
He falls down like a just off the edge of the building.
Yeah, and Batman lands on top of him. Like, he's just trying to save Gordon and his kid. So he's like, and he just leaps at him. Like, he's not intending to kill him. He just kind of tackles him, like football tackles him.
It's like Raimi Spider-Man. It's just like accidental kills.
Yeah. There was a deliberate choice in Begins to not save Ra's al Ghul knowing he's going to die, and that's up to everybody individually to decide, does that count as killing a person or not. It certainly technically is not, but I think there is an ethical question there in a way that I don't know that there is in Dark Knight. Like, how could he have even known what was going to happen? Like, sure, if you took in a regular situation, like where everybody knew who he was and you could take him to court, he could maybe be charged, but then probably not, because it's like a self-defense or rescue situation. There wasn't any excessive force. Like, that's very different than he's beating the crap out of the Joker in a prison.
Yeah.
Like he just leapt at the guy so he wouldn't shoot a gun. And also keep in mind the gun went off. Like, he barely makes it in time, if memory serves.
Yeah. Reaper Cheap 775 says Batman manslaughter. Yeah, that's what it is.
Exactly. Yeah, but like understandable manslaughter.
You really missed an opportunity to smush those together and just say Batman slaughter.
Batman slaughter. Yeah, but there's so much stuff you could do with that name.
Should we move on to Ryder's question?
Absolutely.
Let me see. $2 from Ryder. Let me make sure I have this right. Deadpool is pansexual. It is canon. Hashtag Spideypool.
Yeah, okay. Hey, he brought that up a few weeks ago. I don't totally know why we're still talking about that, but I'll take your word for it. I've not read anything where that comes up.
Is Spidey also? Like, that would be... I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what Spider-Man is these days? He has no friends.
Well, and also I just have
universe.
I have a hard time taking anything seriously anymore with current, where like there's all kinds of things that are canon now where I'm like, okay, so we did that. Like,
yeah, there's a Hulk Dr. Octopus with like 6 Hulk arms. Have you seen that?
Of course there is, because we haven't done it yet.
He has like Dr. Octopus's glasses and he has 6 Hulk arms. It's really, really weird. Someone made a custom figure of it that I saw and I was like, that's really weird.
Like, I don't know. Deadpool's a character that, like, you can pretty easily retroactively add anything to that character and it works well enough because he's a crazy person. You know what I mean? And that's not me saying, oh, he's got a different sexuality, of course, because he's crazy. I'm just saying, like, if you suddenly went, Peter Parker is gay, I'd go, well, he wasn't for like 65 years. Like, that's kind of odd. Deadpool, he could wake up one morning and be like, I've been this other thing all along and I just, didn't tell anybody about it. Like, or I didn't do anything about it before, or it's none of your business. I didn't, you know what I mean? Like, like, sure, Deadpool can be anything. It's whatever.
Devin Rakatansky, 199. Will Deadpool and Wolverine kiss? We're really on this.
Yeah, apparently. I think they'll do a gag where Deadpool will want to, and it won't have anything to do with what is his sexuality, but with specifically, he has this running gag about how Hugh Jackman is a beautiful person, right?
I think that
I think he could be in love with Hugh Jackman and not like any other men.
Yeah, I think this universe, the Wolverine that we get in this should be the Wolverine from like the first 5 minutes of The Wolverine, where he gets blown up by an atomic bomb and he has no hair and no skin on his face, and then those two should just be in Deadpool 3, so they look alike, and then they can kiss because everybody wants to see that.
I'm calling it right now. They'll come up with some reason to have Ryan Reynolds do the Origins Deadpool again, even though they did that jokey scene where he shoots him. It doesn't make any sense, but it's funny.
Yeah, they'll make some kind of joke to him meeting him before.
Yeah, just because Hugh Jackman is there. Well, and also they showed a figure of it from the first movie where like they're really on about making fun of that. So there's no way we don't have a reference to that in all 3 of those movies, right? At least a reference. Like, that will come. Now that I'm thinking about it, we've already had a reference to it in 2 movies. That comes back. But I could see them making him a character. I will legitimately make this prediction. I think both of those actors play at least two different versions of themselves in that movie, and possibly more like five or six. Like I think both of them will play multiple versions of their characters.
Yeah.
Having no idea what the premise is, I really think that happens.
All right, Chewbacca's lever. Let's see if we can get away from the bromance of it all. $2. Oh, you already read that one about the Raphael
I
figure.
did.
Zach McLean, I respect. We cannot get off this topic. Zach McLean, I respect you guys because I know you've both made love at least once.
Oh, is that a reason to respect a person?
No, but he does.
Oh, well, I mean, I appreciate that. Thanks, but I mean, we both have. To be fair, we also both have, with respect, physical proof of that.
Yeah, we have more than one
We
child.
both
so
have children.
It's definitely way more than that.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I certainly respect people that maybe have never been laid. You know.
Yes, you don't have to earn respect in that way.
Yeah.
Kids.
It's also not. I mean, I don't mean to make fun of the viewer. Thanks for the super chat, but I don't know that I've ever really thought about that. I've always, when I was a kid and all the way up to now, I always thought it was weird when people in movies, and I guess I've seen this in real life too, but like their standard for a person was you don't count until you've done that. You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
was always weird to me in movies where it's like, oh wow, you're a virgin? That's weird. Like people must be very repelled by you. I don't know, like it's none of my business. I don't know. It's just not a thing I think about people. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if that person's had sex. I don't think I've ever had that thought.
Yeah,
Like,
who the heck cares?
who cares? Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, this guy's impressed that we've had it once. Think of how impressed he would be if he knew the whole story. Good grief, thousands of times.
But no, thanks. I mean, you know, I do consider it a how do I even want to put this? I'm trying. I almost
Such a weird question.
like, yeah, I feel like I should move. We are in After Dark territory. I feel like I should just move on, but I've already dug this hole, so I guess I'm gonna go ahead and say this. Like, I don't think of it as like a big achievement that that I have participated in that activity, but I do consider it an achievement that I like managed to, you know, get my wife to like me well enough to marry me, because like I have a very cool wife and I probably don't deserve her, and I do consider it, you know, an achievement that I managed to build the family I built. Certainly, I'm sure you have that.
Yeah, it's much more of an achievement to be with my wife Grace for 8 years and have two lovely children than to have sex. Anyone can have sex. It's not hard at all. It's pretty easy. It's kind of one of the most natural
What is
things.
this timestamp going to be called? Let's do one more, and then I want to take just a real quick break if we could.
All right, let's do it. Edward Better, $2. Hello. Hello. I don't even know what he sounds like.
Hello, computer. Wait.
I haven't seen this movie a million times. This is a Misa Jar Jar Ed.
Misa Jar Jar Ed.
That's all I got, folks.
Wait,
that
what?
was a super chat.
That was a super chat? Yes. I thought I was going to keep going, and I could
They're
keep
just trying
doing
to
more Jar
derail
Jar.
us tonight. What are they doing?
Edward, well, it's an excuse to leave super chats and support us, and I appreciate that. Thanks so very much.
No, I definitely.
Misa called Jar Jar Ed.
Oh, well, he is Edward Bedor, so yeah. I support the idea to just send us money to just try to confuse us on camera and make us look stupid.
Guys, I'm going to take just a real quick 2-minute break. DJ, would you like to also take a break, or do you want to just keep chatting with the audience?
I'm good either way.
Yeah,
Actually, I might grab some water real quick. Let's just take a break.
Okay, everybody give us just 2 minutes. We'll be right back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. I'm Captain Logan, and look, it's DJ Martinez. And finally, I got to the opening correctly, right in the middle of the show. Yeah, there it is. Everybody heard that one.
We're starting all over again. 2 hours, starting now.
That's right. Well, thanks a lot for being here. Tonight's lead-in topic is look at this face. This is quite a face. It really is nightmare fuel. There are people that are not going to sleep tonight because I put this on camera.
Oh, and the way it bobbles when you do that is just an extra layer of.
That's true. Yeah.
Wow.
Like,
It's
toys were not meant to be manufactured like this.
Stuffed animals were not meant to have plastic hard heads. Like, who's sleeping with that?
Yeah.
That's going to hurt your child.
No, that's true. You gotta bang into it. And it's not a matter of, like, don't give it to a kid under 3. Don't give it to a 50-year-old. I mean, that's weird anyway, but, like...
Don't give it to me.
Yeah.
I'll throw it right in the trash. That thing's horrifying.
I'm gonna buy you one. After you said that, I'm gonna find one. Watch this be, like, a $50 collector's item, right? Like...
Probably.
Like, I'll go look for this, and...
eBay prices are insane.
Okay, what else are folks talking about? Thanks for being patient, guys, and letting us take a quick break. And now for something not different at all. Exactly what we were doing before. Go ahead, DJ.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, it is actually. It's Ben Carey. He said...
Oh, I'm sorry. Before you do that, can I answer something real quick? Thomas Lowe wants to know what the name of the song is. So I have been using, for regular lead-in music now for the last, month or so, music from one of my favorite video games and fighting games of all time, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and the opening lead-in music that I'm playing now, just to give everybody a chance to get into the show before we start broadcasting, is the training mode music, and then the official now kind of theme for the show is the clock tower music from that game. And I've always really enjoyed the music from that game because I'm a big jazz fan, and it's really anachronistic, and it doesn't really go with, like, high octane fighting, and I love it. Like, like, they don't go together, and that's not a criticism. Like, I really enjoy that about it. It's great. Like, it's so relaxing. And then you're just like, just like right on the top of it. It's fantastic.
I would love that system.
AMC Comics, take you for a ride. Yes, exactly. Gonna take you for a ride.
I wanna take you for a ride.
Oh, it has words?
Yes. Yes, it does. That is the player select. Anyway. Let's get back to Super Chat, shall we?
No, that's a perfect segue into my next Super Chat. Ben Carey, I made love once.
See, I want to say congratulations, but then that goes against what I said earlier, where I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I get why that is, an achievement for people. I'm just saying that, like, looking back on my life, I wouldn't call that, like, one of my great achievements,
Yeah.
But, I also want to be sensitive to people for whom it was maybe a social challenge to find the right person and to make that happen. Like, I don't know. I'm not articulating this well, but like.
Well, we're not on After Dark, so you weren't prepared to talk about this.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to hear us talk about it a lot, sign up for the $2 Patreon tier, and we talk about it a lot on After Dark.
Yeah, I mean, I try to steer us away from it, not for a lack of trying, but having Brandon and DJ there, it always winds its way back to positions and all kinds of things. Anyway.
Locations.
Location.
That's the most important thing. Edward Bedor, $5. Is there anything more scary than Batman smiling and laughing, or Spider-Man being absolutely silent when you're a criminal on the receiving end?
He's called Jar Jar Ed. I'm sorry, what was the question again?
He's still stuck on he's still hung up on your last Super Chat,
Ed, I need you to change your YouTube handle to Jar Jar Ed. I really need that. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. What was the question again?
I think you should go as Jar Jar Cap for Halloween this year.
I want to say challenge accepted, but I can't promise it because I don't know how difficult it would be to get the material to make that costume happen. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
He said, is there anything more scary than Batman smiling and laughing, or Spider-Man being absolutely silent when you're a criminal on the receiving end?
Sure. Well, Frank Miller would certainly agree with you with the Batman thing. He loves drawing the sinister, and so does McFarlane. But the sinister, a smiling Batman face where he looks like he's almost the Joker underneath that cowl. But yeah, when I was a kid, before I read any Spider-Man, I thought Spider-Man was supposed to be a scary character.
Oh wow! Because McFarlane.
Yeah. Because McFarlane draws him, and with the contortions and like
And the eye, like the face.
Yeah, he looks like a character that's not out for your best interest, and of course, it was weird when I finally looked at, especially older Spider-Man stuff, the Stan Lee days, and it was the polar opposite of that. Not that he couldn't still scare criminals, especially when they, hurt his family or kidnap somebody he cared about or something. Spider-Man might have the most versatile costume of superheroes in that way, partly because there's no human face in it like with Batman, so you can imagine anybody under there with any kind of motivation, but also because it can be drawn in a real wholesome, lighthearted, happy kind of way, or it can be drawn real kind of creepy and sinister. And Batman doesn't have that as much. You have to kind of fundamentally change the costume before it loses the I want to say fear factor. I mean, I guess it doesn't really inherently have that in its initial. I shouldn't say initial, but in the colors that we're most used to from like the 50s up to the 90s, right? Mm-hmm. Like, when it's in the gray and blue, you can draw it creepy, but it's not, always inherently that way. But the initial idea of the Batman costume is, of course, criminals would be afraid of this image. But yeah, I mean, I will say there are scarier things than that, but to actually answer the question, but
yeah, like that Wolverine doll right there.
No, I think if you're a criminal, Spawn's chains coming out way scarier than either of those things.
According to the films, Ghost Rider giving you the penance stare is the most horrifying thing ever, because those actors are like,
yeah. Well, I mean, if you read the comics, like that's what that's supposed to do. But it's scary because he's getting into your soul. It's not because of what he looks like. It's because of what he's doing to you. Like,
yeah, no, he looks awesome. He looks super cool. But
yeah,
he's tearing you apart from the inside. Great score. Speaking of our scores video, I don't like that movie at all, but his Ghost Rider Arrives track from the second movie score is so cool.
I haven't listened to that super closely.
That's the only track I like on it, but it's just like this like that, and it just keeps revving up and getting super intense, because that's when he like shows up for the first time. It's it's guitar.
Can you name another superhero that is scarier than Batman or Spider-Man when they're like going after a criminal in a scary kind of context, like intentionally in an alleyway or something? Like I think Spawn absolutely would be.
Yeah, I mean Venom would be horrifying if I saw Venom in an alley. Depending on which one it is.
I was gonna say that, but I couldn't decide if that counted. Yeah.
Jokey one. Well, he was a hero in the 90s.
Sort of.
a lethal protector.
The lethal part we kind of went in front of protector.
I can't believe they haven't said that in the movies yet. Like, he should be some kind of lethal protector.
I think they have name dropped that now, but it wasn't quite that bad.
Oh, okay. Fantastic.
There's some kind of Suicide Squad. Yeah, Daredevil.
Couldn't believe they did that with Miss Marvel too.
Punisher is so on the fence for whether that should even count as a superhero, though. Like, of course he's scary. He's got guns. Moon Knight, I think, would be on par with Batman. Although something is inherently scarier about the version of Moon Knight that's just wearing a suit and tie.
Yeah.
In an alleyway.
I think the scariest Batman is
just because it's so understated. It's so like nondescript. He's just like, he looks like he just got out of a party and put a mask on and he just beats the crap out of you. Like, and there's something kind of perverse about the color white with somebody like beating you to a bloody pulp, which Moon Knight has inherently, but with that suit, I love that look. And I think it's really cool that the TV show gave us both. I finally finished that, by the way.
Oh, cool.
I don't know what is happening through like 70% of that show.
Well, that's good. That's at least a new feeling to have from a Marvel show.
I enjoyed it ultimately more than I thought I was going to, because I was bored with it at an episode and a half in, which is why I never went back and finished it. And then on break last week, I finally was like, I'm gonna go ahead and finish the show, and I'm really mixed on it. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna review it, because I don't know how to be articulate about it, because I don't know what's happening. Through a lot of it. It cheats on... It's real cryptic in its storytelling, and it cheats on the theme of what is real and what is not, because by the end, it's just real ambiguous about some of it, and you can't really have a read on it. It's just, oh, he was in an institution. And then we had one more scene where he goes back to the institution and then tells the bad guy, and this is such a trope, right? Like the bad guy in the regular world in the MCU, that in what you assume is a dream world where he's in an institution. The bad guy, of course, is his psychiatrist, because that's what we always do in TV shows. And he somehow goes back there when everything is resolved at the end of the show, and it's like, you think you've got it all figured out, but it's not what you think it is. And then he just leaves, and then he's back in the real world again. And I'm like, what was that realm? Like, where was he when he was in the institution? What was any of that? There's a whole episode about it. I have no idea what it is or what's going on. Like, none.
I need to check that out, man, because I love that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know what the heck's going on half the time in Legion, more than half the time, and I love Legion. That show's amazing. So I didn't know it was about like a psychiatric ward and stuff. That's one of my favorite.
Well, it doesn't get there until like episode 4.
Okay, I do need to watch that though. I mean,
where it does your I mean, you'll enjoy at least things about it. It has a really non-compelling bad guy plot with a villain that just will not stop pontificating, and at some point I stopped caring at all about what his motivations are. And you have your kind of typical like speechifying going back and forth between him and Moon Knight at the end. That's I guess about like kind of a religious argument, because they're supposed to be I wasn't prepared to talk about this. They're supposed to be avatars for gods, so it's each god through their avatar arguing for the way they punish people. And for the bad guy, it's punish you before you do anything bad, and for Moon Knight's god, it's wait and let you be a sinner first. But the argument is, but everybody ultimately is a sinner, so why wait? And so it's that kind of Minority Report thing in a weird way, in like a religious context, which sounds interesting, but it's not handled in a real compelling way, because we don't really get to the crux of that until the very end, and then we have a big fight. And I won't reveal how Moon Knight ends up winning that, but it's kind of easy and something of a cop-out, and I don't totally know why it happens. Yeah, there's a very bizarre Deus Ex Machina at the end, is all I'm going to say. But
that would never happen in a Marvel MCU show.
Yeah.
I
hesitate even talking about it, because I feel like, I don't know, maybe on a second viewing, okay, it's all coming together, now I get it, but I don't know what's happening with a lot of that show. I think Oscar Isaacs is brilliant in it, though.
That's cool.
I never think I'm looking at the same actor when he goes back and forth between his different personalities. And I find both of the personalities really compelling in that, or really sympathetic, I should say. And then when you get, minor spoilers for this, but DJ, when you get into the psychiatric ward, it turns into this kind of like Barge of the Dead thing, where they may or may not be dead, and they're headed to the afterlife, and they have to like balance their soul before they can go to like their version of heaven, and so they're trying to figure out how to do that. And I guess it's it's a rule now that all of the flashbacks and backstory have to come in episode 5 of a 6-episode show. Like, I guess we always have to do it that way. But that episode was really cool because you get to see. And not just because of the hippopotamus, but that episode is really cool.
So we have a crocodile now and a hippopotamus in the MCU?
Yes. But that episode's really cool because you get Oscar Isaacs playing both personalities at the same time, standing next to each other, and you feel like you're looking at two totally different actors. Like, it's really, really good.
That's amazing. Yeah, I imagine the material must be at least up to some kind of quality to get Ethan Hawke and Oscar Isaac to get on board, because both of them have like criticized not wanting to be in the Marvel universe.
But I feel like Ethan Hawke is wasted in it.
Well, does he have marital dispute? We've already spoiled that.
I knew this was going to happen. People in the comments are like, I'm surprised Cap found it confusing. On a first viewing, I don't know what the psych ward stuff is. I don't know what's happening there.
All right, I have to give an apology to Here's $5. I completely missed
his
super chat. Yeah, and I completely missed his super chat.
Oh my goodness, he's never gonna. He's gonna change his name to Retract $5.
Deduct $5.
Deduct $5. There you go.
He put a super chat in right after Devin Rokotansky asked, "Will Deadpool and Wolverine kiss?" And he says, "Here's $5 for you having to answer Devin's stupid question. Here's $5."
Wow. Shots fired.
I didn't say it. I have to read the comments. That's my job.
I'm not touching that with a 6-inch Wolverine claw. Anyway, moving right along.
Only 6 inches. Frank Welker's #1 fan. That's an awesome name.
Yeah, that's great.
Frank Welker is one of the greatest actors ever. So, you think anyone's ever made love in a White Castle?
My favorite Frank Welker role is dog number 2. I'm sorry.
Frank Welker's #1 fan is dying to know. Do you think anyone's ever made love in a White Castle? Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's a fast food chain where that's not happened.
Yeah, there's not a. Yeah, if it exists, it's happened there. And I mean, such a romantic place as White Castle.
Danvers says Cap has lost mate overboard.
Is he talking about the show?
I guess. Yeah. It was just my experience with that, man. Like, I wasn't taking notes. I was just watching it. I don't know. I also don't know how I'm supposed to be expected to wonder or to think that there's a possibility that my protagonist is just nuts and that everything I've seen so far is in his head when we've cut to other characters. That's one of my biggest pet peeves in a story like that. Is when, like, if you're gonna do that, you have to stay with your protagonist like Harry Potter and never move away from him, or I'm going to know what's going to happen, right? Like, if you ever jump to, like, the girlfriend or anybody else, I'm gonna go, okay, so he's thinking that maybe the mental institution is actually real life, but I can't begin to believe that there's a possibility that it's all in his head, because I've seen other characters away from him. It wouldn't make it POV-wise. It makes no sense. Oh, thanks. Here's $5. That might be the only comment he's ever left without $5.
I know. That's the only non-super chat comment. Well, he also told me that I missed his comment, so thank you for that. That was important. And Jar Jar, he did it! He did it!
He changed his name to Misa Jar Jar Ed, or to just Jar Jar Ed, and then he said once again, Misa Jar Jar Ed. Thanks, buddy.
$2.
He's a Jar Jar Ed.
He is. He's our new favorite commenter. And he hasn't said anything but Misa Jar Jar Ed. Well, not really, because it was Edward Bedore. He had some comments before that. What is happening to the show? What is happening?
I don't know. I don't even know if this is a show anymore.
This is not.
We might be.
We can't have any viewers at this point.
We've still got about 50. I think.
They just love to. It's a train wreck. It's like you have to watch the world burn.
You got to watch it, yeah. They're waiting to see if at some point we just start babbling in Morse code or something. Like it's not even words. I don't know. I think we might be making a case for worst show ever. again. And there are a few pretty good contenders for that.
It is not our fault, man. I can only read what they give me.
No, I blame myself. I think when you start a show with 2 minutes of silence where people were supposed to be listening to music, it can only go downhill from there.
Yeah, we got off the rails real early on this one.
Yeah, no, there were no rails.
Robert Weil says, "What even is a show?"
We started standing 3 blocks away from the train tracks. Sorry, what?
Robert Wild says, "What even is a show?" That's how far we've gone. We people don't even know what a show is.
We can't even define it. Yeah,
it's nebulous.
I think we can safely still call it content.
Yeah, it's the Captain Logan content.
Content, yeah, and that's the standard now on YouTube, and really just the internet. It really. Actually, anything at all, right?
Anything.
Like that word is even
anything.
That word is even bandied about with streaming services now.
Oh yeah, anything.
Like it's content. I'm starting to dislike that word.
It's one of those words that's been ruined, like Frozen or Inception. Nobody knows what Inception actually means anymore.
Somebody had to go off and make a popular movie. Now I can't even say Inception without somebody go, wait a minute!
That's not something inside of itself.
You saying you don't like that movie? Let's get back to the Super Chats. We have about 10 minutes left in the show if we cap off at 2 hours.
Captain Content sounds like a great name for you. That's what Robert Weil says.
Captain Content. Yeah.
Captain Content.
Captain Content can just stream a show where he's just staring at the camera for an hour. What are you doing? Making content.
You are. And no one can say you can't because it's technically streaming.
I know I brought this up several times, but I don't know if you've ever heard me mention this, DJ. Have I ever told you about my favorite scene in the 90s adult animated series, The Critic, with John Lovitz? Have I ever told you about this?
I don't think so.
There's this great bit. This is too relevant not to bring up again. There's this great bit where he's he's a critic, like doing a TV show like a Siskel and Ebert, right? And I love the show. It doesn't hold up as well as I remember it, but a lot of the individual jokes are really funny, and it's also hard to go back to because it predicted too much as far as just how off the rails movies and blockbusters have gotten, where like Hollywood has no shame, and so they'll there's an episode just like, you know, Jurassic Park 5 or something. It's like, yep, we've made that now. Like, we're there. But there's this that's like a velociraptor that's so sophisticated he just starts talking in a British accent. Like, it's great. But there is this episode where he's standing next to his boss in the back room and they're looking at a TV and it's the all dryer channel. And it's just a dryer, like a washer dryer. It's just a dryer that's just spinning, and that's the channel. And then, you know, you're somebody's voice. You're watching the all dryer channel, and then they're like hypnotized by it. They're just watching it, and then the main character's name is Jay. He looks at his boss and he says, "People actually watch this?" And his boss says, "They not only watch it, they send it money."
That is amazingly relevant.
Anyway, so what do the super chatters want to talk about?
Well, Edward Bedor, before he changed his name, put in a $5 super chat, so I'm still going to refer to him as Edward. He says,
"It's continuity. He's maintaining the continuity."
Yeah, someone has to with this nonsense. He says, $5. As a bisexual man, I am annoyed that people think I am attracted to everyone. Not how my sexuality works. LGBT plus people are not sex machines.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody's different. Not everybody even considers himself, herself, a, like, you know, sexual person. Some people are kind of asexual, or they think they are until they find the right person. Maybe, I don't know. Like, it's just everybody's different. I don't want to, you know, go down this road too far, except just to say, we're, in our culture, we are so obsessed with labels. We've got to put people in boxes, and I think we're too concerned about finding blanket statements to define everything and thinking we have to understand everything. We don't. It is fine for a person to have a very unique way of looking at things and living, and to be the only person on the planet maybe that does it that way. You know, as long as they're not hurting anybody, right? Like it really. I don't need to understand your sexuality. You don't need to understand mine. It's not important. You know what I mean? Like, we shouldn't be...
Yeah.
It's important to you, but I don't think we should be defined by that. And if you want people to know about that aspect of your life, that's your prerogative. But my point is, I think we try too hard to define each other by things that are otherwise kind of superficial. You are a sum of a lot of different aspects, you know, of your personality, of your, you know, history. You shouldn't be defined by only your sexuality. You shouldn't be defined by only your job. You know, only your where you grew up or your parents or anything. Those things. Everybody's unique. Everybody's defined by all of the different things that make them up as a person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as a man who identifies as the only human being in the world who organizes his Blu-rays by color, that is that is a unique thing about me, and I don't need a label for it.
Yeah, we don't need to
I
call
can be
that
the only
anything.
one.
But also, does it annoy you if that's all anybody thinks of you as? Like,
he's the color guy. He's the guy, the weirdo who can't find any of his movies. That's him.
now at the same time, in order to have conversations, we are to some degree going to label things naturally. That's in our nature. But like superficially defining a person where they're not allowed to be anything but what you think of them as, that's what's not fair. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's totally fair for a viewer to be like, oh, DJ, the guy with the colored, you know, Blu-rays behind him, that's what they think of first when they think of you, and it's probably like a nuance they find amusing, and that's a thing that immediately interests them about you. But that's different than you know, I kind of equate this to creators and trying to put them in a box and only allow them to make the things that you've liked they've made before. You know what I mean? Like, we all want to do and be different things. Mm-hmm. So, you know, allow us to do that.
Very well said. Mr. Locke.
Thanks, man.
Oh, Mr. Locke is here with us.
Hi, John.
Wow, I hope it's pre-coffin, Mr. Locke.
Yeah, does he have an orange in his mouth right now? Is he playing Othello? Is he in a wheelchair?
Is he having his kidney taken out right now?
I could go on. Yeah. Don't do it. Don't do it. Your dad's not worth it, buddy. Don't do it.
No, your dad's the worst person in the world. All right. We've never done a commentary. Oh, you did it with Jason. I've never done anything on Lost with you.
That's not true. That's not true. We did
something on Lost?
We did a surprise commentary on the pilot together.
Oh, yeah.
Remember? That was one of the mystery commentaries.
Wow, we've done so many things.
Don't you remember we made it a mystery commentary because we went, if we put Lost in the title, no one will show up.
That's right. We were doing those mystery. We only did like 3 or 4, but those were fun.
I want to bring that back. And you remember what happened. And we are, by the way, talking about occasionally doing commentaries on a Tuesday. So most of the time we're doing 2 Captain Logan shows, but occasionally we might take a Tuesday like tonight and do one of those. But DJ, you remember what happened too? 30, 40 people were there wondering what it was going to be. Dropped down to 12 like instantly. Like,
Lost.
What are you doing with the Lost pilot?
That show hasn't been relevant in 20 years.
No. It stopped being relevant like 1 hour after the finale.
Oh my gosh, that joke in Arrow, it just like hits like a lead weight because he references Lost and
Kick-Ass.
Everybody already forgot about Lost.
Kick-Ass does it.
That's right.
Remember, he gets kidnapped, and he's one of the first things that comes to his mind is, I'm never going to find out what happens on Lost.
Yeah.
And then the finale airs, like, maybe while that's in the theater or shortly thereafter. I can't remember, but yeah. It was weirdly timely.
It was so timely while they were writing it, but then it was like everybody forgot about it immediately.
Okay, how many super chats do we have left? I'm wasting time we don't have. It's kind of how I spend money, too.
We have about 9.
I'm just kidding. Oh, geez, really? Are most of them jokes?
Most of it, we have a very good amount of audience interacting with each other in super chats tonight. It's very unusual.
Okay, well, occasionally that happens. Okay, so I'm going to say at least 20% of that is White Castle references. No?
We'll see.
Okay, let's go ahead and blow through these, and then we'll call it a night. Go ahead, DJ.
Okay. Chewbacca's Lover.
Thank you guys so much, by the way. This has been a lot. I don't know what this is, but I've really enjoyed it.
It's a great way to get back into it.
Oh, hi, Connor.
So Mr. Locke, wow, Connor, you need to go back because you've missed
Really?
quite the show.
I'm ridiculous because I was trying to remember how we got down that lost rabbit hole. I can't even hear a person's name without just running off on a tangent. My apologies.
We went off on Mr. Locke, so I need to go back to Mr. Locke.
Why does anybody watch that? I'm obnoxious. Sorry, go ahead.
Mr. Locke, $5. I second that one sentiment from a month or so ago. Why does Burger King exist? I don't remember the sentiment.
That was. It's been too long. I mean, it's been a few weeks, and we've done several shows. But there was a super chat or a comment or something about Burger King. Why does I think somebody just left a super chat in the Captain Logan show was like, why does Burger King exist? Yeah. So we're back to that again.
Speaking of creepy plastic head mascots,
it's so that you can have it your way.
BK all day.
If your way is healthy, you're out of luck, son.
Oh man. So thank you, Mr. Locke, for joining our show. Big fan.
Appreciate
Chewbacca's Lover, $5. I'm betting the final action sequence is Wolverine and Deadpool versus the X-Men Origins Deadpool with the mouth sewn shut. It won't just be a cameo.
Yeah, I think that's possible. I think doing a full-on fight with them, maybe not the big last third act fight, but because I think that movie will be grander than that. I do, and I think that you'll. I mean, we don't know what the premise is yet, so I could be totally off base on this. But I also don't think that Wolverine is the only Fox X-Man that will come back.
That's interesting.
I also don't think that they'll ever make another throwback thing to Fox X-Men and Patrick Stewart isn't there. So, like, he'll be in that movie, too. If only for a cameo. Like from now on, anytime we ever do anything with Fox X-Men, until he's passed away, Patrick Stewart will play Professor X again, every single time.
Poor man.
That's what I think.
Just let him rest. Bob the Hun, $5. I think Zach McLean's super chat is a reference to the last After Dark you guys did. I think he was just making a joke about what you guys discussed.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that, but that's probably right.
Well, it's not, because Zach comes back with another super chat that says, I told you, a lot of interaction here. Zach, $10.
So what is After Dark? I don't even know what that is.
No, it's Bob. Please refrain from making yourself look stupid. I told you in the chat that I did not see After Dark and that it was not a reference. I respect them as I do all fathers for having made love. So yeah, a lot of bickering amongst so it wasn't a joke. Super chatters.
Yeah, well, you guys try. I mean, try to respect each other if you can, certainly.
But we'll get back to that a little bit later. There's some more.
Oh my goodness!
Some more beef with the super chatters.
The plot thickens.
Something's thickening. I don't know what this is. Greg, Agent of Shield, $5.
I'm not sure. I'm not dreaming right now.
Yeah, what is did we ever come back to the show?
I'm in it.
Did I ever move?
It was weird
Am
before
I in my
that.
house?
I'm clearly in an episode of Moon Knight. Anyway, moving right along.
All right, Greg, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., $5.
Yeah.
Let's try to get this back on the rails. Most of the time, I don't like Connor, but I bet he's made love. Nope, we're not back on the rails. We're still talking about this. Connor, I know Connor very well. We have not discussed that yet. So
no, if I was a betting man, I would say I'd put $200 on Connor has engaged in that activity.
Yeah, that activity is probably on his radar. I mean, we can. He's in the chat if he feels the need to chime in. Feel free, but there's no pressure. You don't have to answer the super chats. We have to answer the super chats. Dylan the Villain, $5. Do you know when you and Sarah will be doing a spoiler cast for Star Trek Strange New Worlds? I'm excited for it.
Oh, thanks. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. That probably won't happen. I was hoping to do a spoiler cast for that shortly after I finished watching it, and a couple weeks went by, and honestly, a lot of the back half of that was not sticking with me well enough, and I don't know if I'll do one on my own at this point, but almost certainly I won't have Sarah there for it. I just don't think she'll be interested in doing that. Not to put too fine a point on it, but if I can find the time to give it a second watch, I'll come back and do, at least an hour on it. But I'm not promising anything at this point. I don't know how much interest there is in that. I'm glad that I was at least able to come in and weigh in on the first couple episodes. I wanted to talk about it just because I was surprised I was actually kind of enjoying it. I'm really nervous about it moving forward. And like hearing things like they're gonna do a crossover with Lower Decks and stuff makes me kind of not want to keep watching it because I'm worried they're gonna ruin what I'm enjoying about it. And I'm already having to watch it on the level of this at least kind of feels like Star Trek, even if I have to, like forget that it doesn't work at all with continuity and stuff. So it's already a really awkward experience. In some ways, DJ, it's almost worse than if they were all bad. It's like finally they made one that's okay, and they kind of proved that
they gave you hope.
They've at least hired some people that can, write some standard Star Trek episodes, and you go, okay, so you could be making this, but it's kind of a proof of concept more than anything, because it doesn't really validate its own existence. Like it's fun, and there's some okay stories being told, but it's all retread. Like it's not really pushing any envelopes. It's not going any new places. It's just when you compare it to the rest of it, it's this giant breath of fresh air. It's like, oh, somebody, not only like understands that world a little better than, or a lot better than, Picard and Discovery and stuff, but like dialogue exchanges follow, and a person will say a thing and then somebody else will respond, and they're talking about the same thing the first person was talking about. Like there's some, actual okay TV writing in it. And I'm not constantly baffled as to why anything is happening. Anyway, that's my review. Sorry, moving right along.
All right. Back to Jar Jar Ed. He says, and this is the beginning of another feud in the super chats. This is a club about Captain Logan and his geeks, not nerds. Cult. Well, I certainly hope not.
Okay, I'm sorry. What now? Who was that?
That's from Ed. That's from Jar Jar Ed.
Oh,
your favorite.
Jar Jar Ed. Okay. I don't know what he means.
I don't know. This is a club about Captain Logan and his geeks, not nerds. Cult.
Cult. Oh.
Are we a cult? Am I a part of a cult? You didn't tell me I was signing up to be a part of a cult, Cap.
I mean, yeah. Like I don't know. I might be in a very tiny way like a cult of personality, but I don't even want to give myself that kind of moniker. Like I don't think I'm cool enough to even be called that. But that's as far as I'd go. I don't want to be the leader of a cult, If so, it wasn't on purpose. It was an accidental cult. It was a subconscious cult.
Oh, okay.
I think a lot of them start that way.
The worst kind.
Yeah. No, hopefully not.
A subculture, you might say.
We cultivated a subculture.
What is happening? All right. Jar Jar. So our next super chat is from Jar Jar Ed Sucks, and it's $5, and they say, "You heard me, Ed. You saw the worst."
Wow. I can't decide how
Shots
serious
fired.
some of this is. Like at this point, I think is it friendly jousting, or is this actually a couple of guys that are angry with each other that are handling it in the most entertaining way possible? I'm really not sure what's happening.
As long as that's entertaining, I don't mind.
Thomas Lowe, don't be a cult. Austin says I only strip for Jesus. What is happening? Oh, simp! I thought he said strip. Pardon me.
Don't be a cult might be the best advice I've ever heard.
Yeah, right. Like, not even don't start one. Don't be one.
Don't be a cult.
Yourself.
People.
Don't be a cult.
Don't be a cult, kids. Stay in school. Don't do drugs. Don't be a cult.
Don't give yourself. This is a very special episode of the Captain Logan Show. Don't give yourself ridiculous rules that you have to follow. And anyway, moving right along.
All right. Well, let's move along because we're just getting started on this feud between Jar Jar Ed and Jar Jar Ed.
I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy this. Yeah. Okay.
So you saw the worst. Jar Jar Ed comes back and says, "Well, sorry, present day Gandalf."
What does that even mean?
I don't know, but I'm gonna start using it because it's the best insult ever.
Pardon me, present day Gandalf. I'm Gandalf the Plaid. I'm Gandalf the Orange is the New Black.
What does that mean?
Well, I don't know. It's a color reference of something within the past decade. So present day Gandalf.
Yeah. And then Jar Jar Ed Sucks comes back with $2 and says, "You better be sorry, Ed. You nasty."
Why is it important for you? I mean, like, as always, of course, really appreciate the support. And this is hilarious. So I'm not knocking you guys for doing this. I don't know why it's important that the rest of the audience to you guys hears this.
They want their feud. They want their beef to be public.
I'm drinking out of this mug so that I can keep reminding myself of what show this is supposed to be. Because I've completely lost sight of it.
I don't know. Like what? Yeah, what is happening? This is like the end of a very, very long Marvel Mania where we're losing it.
It may be the end of my career, honestly. Okay, all right. Moving right along. If this was the last video on the channel, I would be. I think I'd be okay with that. Like, I would feel somewhat complete, even though I didn't review every superhero movie ever made.
That's true. But we did have a good feud between Jar Jar Ed and Jar Jar Ed Sucks. Jar Jar Ed, again, speaking of $2, the B story on the Captain Logan show thickens.
Wait, so now you're your own narrator?
Narration in Super Chats is okay. I'm down. I'm okay with that. I didn't really do it in a narrator voice because I never know where these things are going until I'm like halfway through reading.
It would have been really cool if it was bookended narration. You know, if somebody like actually planned that out. They're like narrating the show at the beginning, and then they waited out all the way to the end, and they somehow made sure they were the last Super Chat. And they told everyone what the moral of the story was, just spelled it out for you.
Well, that's when modern day Gandalf shows up to do the narration. Or present day Gandalf? What was this? Said it was a good comeback, but I don't even remember it because I'm reading so many.
Austin says this is like the end of Evangelion. Oh my God, Evangelion. You know what? Evangelion. That's what it is. I I'm able to pronounce that when I'm not looking at it, and then when I look at it, I get self-conscious and I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna mess it up, and then I mess it up like 5 times. Anyway, Austin. I mean DJ. I was just reading in Austin comment. Okay, let's finish these super chats up.
All right, Chewbacca's Lover, $10. Watching your Batmania series for the 4th time. In your Batman versus Dracula commentary, you say, if the Batman film ever gets made, it will really be hard to look up info on that show.
And true. It is. Did I say that? Yeah, I actually
you
had
said
that
something very smart back in the day.
I had that. Yeah, it's like once in a while, you know, like if you broadcast often enough, like you're gonna say something like, you know what, that makes sense. I get why I said that. I agree with myself. DJ, I had that experience 2 days ago. I was believe it or not, I was ordering some new box sets for the superhero movie and TV collection, and I bought the whole the Batman series finally on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I seen that at Target. It looks nice.
Yeah, I got a really good deal on it. I think I got it for like, I don't know, 35, 37, I forget. And I think I got Batman the Animated Series for the same price. Those are coming in the mail. I'm very excited. Anyway, yeah, you can't just type in the Batman Blu-ray, of course. The way I was able to get it come up first was to type in the word series with it. That did it.
Yeah.
I guess complete would probably do it too.
Complete series, 5 seasons, something like that.
Yeah.
Robert Wild says, this is Your Brain on Drugs, the live stream.
It really is. Yeah. Yeah, this is a cautionary tale of some kind. I don't know what we're telling you guys not to do that we've done, but there's something in there.
Don't say you'll read every super chat, no matter what.
If you were, yeah, I don't know how I'm going to do timestamp. This is going to be the longest timestamp watch I've ever had to deal with. But no, if you were looking for characters from that show, like, you know, you want to find an image of the Riddler from the Batman show, you'd have to write TV or series or something in an image search now.
And, or long hair.
And you wouldn't have had to do
Tattoos.
That before. You know, like 2 years ago, you could have just written, you know, the Batman Riddler.
Yeah, that's true. That's
and you would have gotten you would have gotten that quicker. Actually, let's do a experiment here. I'm gonna write the Batman Riddler with
see what the first image that pops up.
A date would do it too. If you wrote like 04 or something, that would do it. I didn't think of that. Okay, so not on the first page.
Wow. What a bummer.
Is it all from the movie, or does anything else come up? No, it is. It is all from the movie so far. Ooh, there's a McFarlane Toys Riddler. That looks great.
Back on toys again, guys. That's what started this whole mess.
It really is, yeah. I mean, we got some other versions of Riddler here, but that's just all the live action versions, including yeah. Let's keep scrolling.
This is a very dangerous game, by the way. Just scrolling through Google Images
That's
on
true.
a live stream.
That's true. Will the Riddler from the Batman TV show pop up at all? With just it hasn't yet, has it?
I don't see him. I don't see that eyeliner yet.
Nope, not yet. But we do have a coffee cup.
Creepy mask. There it is.
There's what?
The coffee cup.
Oh, the coffee cup.
Reacting to you.
Okay, anyway, let's get back to the super chats and finish this up.
Yeah, what a bummer, man. I like that show. And now it's going to be completely overruled.
Overruled.
Also, what is the sequel called? The Batman 2? The Batman Joker? Like...
Yeah, I imagine
weird.
the Batman won't even be in the title. Like, it'll just be clear enough from what it is.
It'll be like No Way Home. It'll be the trilogy. It'll be the Batman, the Caped Crusader, the Dark Knight. No, we can't do that.
What's annoying about the Dark Knight trilogy is that we did set a precedent with Begins and Dark Knight, where that second movie didn't have to have anything to do with the title of the first one, but then it became the Dark Knight trilogy, and so then Dark Knight Rises has to look like a direct sequel to the Dark Knight, but it's as much of a sequel to Begins, so that's irritating. And
it's so much Begins.
It's just really inconsistent in the titling. I mean, it is a lot of Dark Knight also because it's about the end of that movie and Batman like hanging it up and all of that. But yeah, there's obviously with the League of Shadows and everything, there's a bunch of Begins in it.
I have a question for you. What should have the Dark Knight Rises been called? Have you ever thought of that?
Yes, and nobody seems to like my my answer to that. But I always thought, well, okay, I always thought if it had to have Dark Knight in the title, it shouldn't have been Rises, just because that word is so overused, and you've already got a comic title with it. It should have been Legend of the Dark Knight if it's gonna be Dark Knight, because it's all about Batman being a symbol and what he's a symbol of, and like Batman still exists by the end of the movie, even though everybody thinks he's dead, like as a symbol. So and then Robin John Blake is going to carry on the mantle and continue the legend. So like it should have been Legend of the Dark Knight. But as far as a title that doesn't have Dark Knight in it, I don't know. I would have been okay with bookending with Batman, maybe. I guess. I don't know. It'd be better if it had no words from the other two movies, but I guess I'm not sure what that would be.
Yeah. Batman concludes.
Batman concludes. Go home, read a book.
It's just called John Blake. Man. It could have been just called Robin. It could have doubled down on that horrible, horrible ending scene. Chewbacca's lover.
No, it should have been called John.
Yeah, they could have beat Logan to the punch.
Yeah, it's called John because it has not one but two characters in the movie named John, which is dumb. Why would you change...
It's a double entendre title.
I know I've complained about this a lot, but like, why would you change Roland Daggett's name so that he can have the same first name as another major character in the movie? It's stupid. If you have to change his name, at least don't make it the same name as somebody else. That's like writing 101 stuff when you have a large cast of characters, is don't give two characters names that sound too close, much less the same name spelled the same way.
Yeah, at least Ed, and Eddie added a D and an E and a Y.
Yeah.
Differentiate. It could have been John and Johnny.
Yeah, well, and...
Jim, John, and Johnny. There's the title.
And when that's your whole premise, it's fine. We all have the same name. That's the premise of our thing. Yeah, that's different.
It's true. That's true. Ed, and Eddie is different than The Dark Knight Rises. I'm almost in a mind state tonight where I didn't even think of that.
Oh my gosh, we're already 20 minutes past 2 hours. I don't know how we're ever gonna end the show.
the unendable Captain Logan show. We're gonna top the record tonight.
It is the show that I'm gonna message my wife real quick here.
You've got this is what you've done, guys. You made the man message his wife that he's gonna be late.
My viewers are proud of me. I'm not gonna tell you why. No, I'm not typing that. Anyway, I'm sorry. What is Ness? What is Ness?
What is Ness? He's this little guy with
Nintendo
a striped
Entertainment
shirt,
System.
and he has a little yo-yo. I played with him in Smash for a good long time. I used to like playing as Ness.
Oh yeah.
Chewbacca's lover, $5. He says he's also watching your After Darks with Eric for the 4th or 5th time, where you also foreshadow
cool.
a bunch of stuff and make failed predictions.
Oh yeah.
So you're hitting both sides. I mean, you throw enough stuff out there, something sticks.
Yeah, something's gonna stick. You can't be too impressed with me, but you also can't give me too much crap when I'm wrong, because like you're gonna, when I make predictions, it's almost never me going, I know for sure. There's some things that I really double down on, but for the most part, I assume I'm bad at making predictions, but I do it anyway. I gotta create content. I don't know what else to do.
Captain Content over here.
I did call Bane in The Dark Knight Rises. I've always been kind of proud of myself for that one.
I think I vaguely remember that.
And that was in the face of Nolan saying we're not going to see any villains we've ever seen in movies before. So I was like, I really think the direction to go with that is Bane. And then people were like, but Nolan said they're not going to use any villains we've ever seen before. And then it was Bane, and I was like, yes.
Nolan just completely exorcised that movie from his mind.
Liar. Well, Catwoman's also in it.
Yeah, so who knows what he was talking about.
The Universe. Cap can see into the future sometimes. Yeah, I'm a regular Nostradamus.
All right, you ready to go back into the beef verse?
Yeah. Let's jump down the rabbit hole, as it were.
First of all, we have a lovely
Let's
little.
get back into the pit.
First of all, we have a lovely little super chat from Ty. Hey Ty.
Oh, hi Ty.
$2. He says, "Hi Cap. It's
Is this
me,
Ty or is this TY?
This is Ty.
This is Ty,
not
okay.
TY. Very important distinction. I thank you for bringing that up.
That guy's awesome, by the way. I just want to throw
Is
that
that the
out
one
real
you talk
quick.
to?
Yeah, and I.
You're not Ty, but TY, he's super awesome.
No, Ty's also awesome, but I just want to mention this real quick because it came up, and I always have to interrupt you in the middle of the super chat because I know people hate that. So TY won a super chat goal one night, and got to talk to me on the phone for half an hour, allegedly, but I had so much fun talking with him, we went for an hour, and we had a really nice talk about 80s and 90s Batman comics, and he really knows his stuff, and he really refreshed my memory on a lot of things, and he was just a fountain of information, and that was an absolutely lovely conversation, and I really enjoyed talking to him.
Wow. Well, there you go. You're making friends left and right with these super chatters.
Yeah, he inspired me actually to go back to mid-'80s and start reading Batman again. The day after I talked to him, I read Year 2, which I'd never read before, and that thing is fascinating. Do you know anything about Year 2?
No.
Year 2 is Bruce Wayne gets starts to kind of go off the rails a little bit and considers carrying a gun as Batman, and he takes the gun that killed his parents, and he which we've now done in a couple other things later, but I don't know if anything else was calling back to Year 2, but I didn't know that this had happened already. He starts going on the streets fighting crime, carrying Joe Chill's gun, and doesn't end up killing anyone, but almost does. Like, he almost loses himself and wouldn't be, the Batman that we know, which kind of makes you buy his aversion to guns even more later, that, like, he tried it and decided it was a really bad idea. But also in that story...
Nolan looking at that for Begins? That's interesting.
It's a question. And also that story sees him having an uneasy alliance and teaming up with Joe Chill, which is really interesting. Yeah, it's a great story.
Well, thanks, TY. Back to Ty, lowercase y. He just says, "Hi, Cap. It's me, Ty."
Hi, Ty. You just Facebook messaged me, but all right. Is that Well, which tie is it? There's a couple, right? There's a couple Tylers.
I think
Is it artist tie?
I think it is. Yeah.
Is it Spawnville tie? I was assuming it was a Spawnville tie this whole time.
Because
but...
he's been in the Discord, the Patreon Discord quite a lot.
Oh,
Lately.
cool.
Been talking to him in there. He's such a fountain of knowledge with
I have not.
films.
I have been too busy to Discord lately, very much.
Yeah, I think he just wanted to pop in and be a part of the worst Captain Logan show in history that tanks the series.
It's an event. It has turned into a real event, folks. I'm very interested to see what happens on Thursday, and if only like 5 people show up after this.
Yeah. It's also a real endurance test for us. Getting through this. Let's go back to.
But the $10,000 question is, how do we still have 55 people watching? That's what you really got.
It's still a larger. It's a larger audience than normal, I would say.
It is because they want to know the conclusion to this epic soap opera happening in the super chats.
Yeah, well, let's get back to Jar Jar Ed, shall we? So Jar Jar Ed sucks. Popped in right after.
Oh yes, Robert Weil. Thanks for reminding me about that. The year 2 is McFarlane art, and it's got some really cool McFarlane covers. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I don't know if I should read. Is this technically language?
No. Can you censor it? Let me take a look.
It's not a curse word, but I mean, I don't know. I can just spell it.
On this show at this point.
It's let me see here. So I've actually missed one. So Jar Jar Ed says the moral of the story is stop it, get some help. And then
I'm already looking for like while we're talking, I'm already on my phone looking for psychiatrists. Yeah,
he's on Yelp right now in the area.
Yeah.
And then
I'm having a text conversation with a possible therapist right now.
And then Matthew Bass interrupts everyone to say, "Remember me, Eddie," which I don't get the reference. Is that to Venom 2 or something?
No, I am going to assume that is a Roger Rabbit reference.
Oh.
Remember me, Eddie? When I killed your brother, I talked just like this!
I'm glad you had that on hand, because I did not have that one on tap. But wow, I don't know if that has to do with anything. But thank you, Matthew.
Just because he calls himself Ed, I guess?
Oh, true. Yeah, see, Ed is the star of the show, and Ed Sucks does not appreciate that.
My wife a couple weeks ago was casting our 1-year-old girl, Cassandra. We have twin girls, Cassandra and Selena. Cassandra as Judge Doom from Roger Rabbit, because she hasn't grown a lot of hair yet, and just the way her hair looked, and she was doing like these crazy giant eyes. Sarah decided that she looked like Christopher Lloyd in that movie, and I was like, Sarah, you can't start calling her Judge Doom. Like that's not okay, because I'm not gonna be able to help but do it. And then the next couple days, it was constant, because she really did kind of have that face, and we were just like, Cassandra's Judge Doom. We just kept calling her that, and we kept making references to it. When I killed your brother! Anyway.
All right, and then Jar Jar Ed gets us back on track to the beef story. He says, gasp, present-day Gandalf?
Yeah, I still don't know what that means.
I don't know what it means
But
either.
is that just Ian McKellen, the actor? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But then Jar Jar Ed Sucks comes back at Jar Jar Ed with $5, says,
I love that you have to keep saying that, too.
Yeah. And there came a day when Jar Jar Ed tried to give the moral of the story. He was wrong. Go figure. Ancient Dumbledore bastard. To be concluded.
Oh, man. What was it we were watching a couple of weeks ago? Brandon brought this up on After Dark, but we haven't mentioned it here. But since that word came up, I guess I can say it. I know what it was. We were watching Star Trek 3, and you've got the great famous scene in that movie where Shatner goes, you Klingon bastard! You killed my son! And Freddy goes, and this was also Christopher Lloyd. Freddy goes, he is a bastard.
I remember that. Yeah, you did tell me that.
It was great. We of course laughed hysterically and then told him not to use that word.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough being a parent. Jar Jar Ed then says, and there came a day when someone begged Captain Logan to pull a Deadpool and stop this before it gets worse.
Yeah, well, we didn't manage that.
We did not.
It's still going.
Yeah, here we are from Jar Jar Ed Sucks. Back again, $5. And this is what I was talking about with the swear word.
Who
Sorry
is Jar Jar Ed Sucks? Like,
I
it
don't
changed at
know.
some point. Do you know who this person is?
Well, it's present day Gandalf.
No, I mean, can we track it? Is it someone that was leaving Super Chats earlier and then now changed their name to that? Can we track it?
I don't know. I have no way.
There's
of
a
knowing.
who is this? What is the secret identity of Jar Jar Ed Sucks? And
Well,
how
that's
did those words
the
come
mystery.
together in a sentence on this show?
Well, and so Jar Jar Ed Sucks comes back, and this is the one that I was saying. It's kind of a swear word. Sorry if this offends you. I'm just going to read it
Oh,
straight.
I
I'm not
thought
gonna...
bastard was the word.
No, it's she uses
That's now come up 4 times on this show. That's new. Demonetized.
Yeah, they use the name Jesus as an exclamation. I don't know. And
I
sorry
don't
if
care.
this-
That's
sorry
fine.
if it offends. She says,
Yeah, I mean,
Jesus...
sorry if we're offending anyone with that, but you're reading a super chat. I don't care.
Yeah, so she says, Jesus, Ed, you don't get the last word. It'll be okay. Ye old future Merlin, settle down.
Now it's just words.
Yeah, she is. They're using his nonsensical comebacks back against him.
Yeah, dose of his own medicine, as it were.
Yeah, a taste of his own medicine. Okay, now I'm going to say some
Are we
words.
really going to do a story analysis of this?
Well, I mean, superhero rewind. Next superhero rewind. I'm now going to say words that I never thought I would say, ever. Tom is now going to get us back on track.
What does that even mean at this point?
TH1. Well, it's something Captain Logan show related. He says TH1 $2. Thoughts on the new Cyberpunk Edge Runner on Netflix?
No, I have no thoughts about that because I didn't play that game, and I don't
close.
have any plans on watching that because I didn't play that game. But yeah, I guess the animation looks cool. Like the couple of seconds I saw of that in some random video game video I was watching. But yeah, I have no dog in this.
At least that
Sorry,
super
Tom.
chat was asking you a question. So we're getting somewhere towards a semblance of a show again.
Well, Bag is also asking a question, but it's not relevant to anything.
Well, it's a very baggy question. He says, for $1.99, when did you last enjoy a Chick-fil-A lemonade?
I don't think I ever have.
I don't believe I ever have.
I went to
enjoyed a
Chick-fil-A,
lemonade.
and DJ and I have been to a Chick-fil-A together. I went
Together,
to
yeah.
a Chick-fil-A last a couple of weeks ago.
Is that a
but
somewhat
I'm not a
relatively new
lemonade
thing
guy.
over there?
Yeah, do they have a special lemonade that people like? I don't know.
I think it's just really good. I don't think it's special. I think they just make really good lemonade, but I've never had it either.
That's cool.
I'm not like I go for the lemonade. I just drink water when I go. But
Lemonade dries my throat out too much. I don't tend to drink it.
yeah, it just makes you more thirsty.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
doesn't quench the thirst.
I like the taste of it, but it's kind of counterproductive.
Here's $5 super chat, of course, on
Oh,
brand.
thanks, man.
True moral of the story, folks, is that we're all present day Gandalf.
Oh.
We all make love. Some
Deep
of us,
down.
yeah, we all make love. Some of us in White Castles. Good night. Here's $5.
Mike, drop the mic. Here's $5. That was wonderful.
That was a good sum up. If you missed the first 2 hours of the show, he just summed it all up in one super chat.
Yeah, that was wonderful.
But that is not the end, folks, because Jar Jar Ed
Of course not.
has
It
to
is
have the
not
last
end.
word. Jar Jar Ed, in his attempt to make the last word, he says $2. The actual moral of the story is that Jar Jar Ed sucks.
I really want to know who that is.
I know. Make yourself known to us.
And I'm also wondering how long Jar Jar Ed is going to be Jar Jar Ed. Like, now that I got him to change that name.
It would be really funny if he changed his name back, but Jar Jar Ed sucks kept their name.
Everybody's going to be like, why does he have this animosity toward someone named Jar Jar Ed? Like, what even is that? I think you're confused. His name was Binks. I don't think it's the last time you saw episode 1. It's Binks.
It's true. It's been a long time for me. You could have convinced me that it was Jar Jar Ed. But Jar Jar Ed did not have the last laugh because Jar Jar Ed sucks comes back with $5. Ed really can't handle not getting the last word. No, stop it. The $5 guy gave the good ending. Now shut up and respect that, Ed. You nasty.
He really did too. Why does he keep tagging it with "you nasty"?
You nasty is a great tagline. I'm gonna start using that too.
It's really funny. Oh man, I'm so entertained by these super chats. You guys are great. Thanks a bunch.
All right. Next up, Jar Jar Ed fires back with $5. He says, "Stop dragging this
You
out."
nasty.
I feel like I'm just a color commentator at this point. I'm not even doing my job anymore. I'm just
You're just calling a race.
calling a boxing
Well, you're calling
match.
a fight. You're calling a boxing
Yeah,
match.
boxing match. So Jar Jar Ed gets a nice jab in by saying, "Stop dragging this out. Don't make this a Return of the King ending."
Yeah.
Oh, which is a jab at being present day Gandalf. And then Jar Jar Ed sucks comes back with another $5. "You're dragging it out, Ed. Stop wanting the last word and respect the ending. Not hard."
Okay, so we're gonna
And
go
they didn't
ahead
put you nasty. I wish they had put
Yeah, nasty. We're gonna try to end the show here, but I would almost. I'm not good at prediction. There's another one. I was gonna say I would almost guarantee that there's no way we don't end the show and end up with a super chat we didn't get a chance to read. Like, I think that's likely to happen the way this is going. But we need to go ahead and end things out. Back Studios, $1.99. What's your favorite fortune cookie you've gotten? Man, I wish I would save them more. Because I've gotten a couple
that's a good thing
of
to
crazy
save.
ones that I just don't remember. It's like trying to remember jokes, right?
Yeah, it's because you never keep those little tiny paper things.
Mm-mm.
Bag Studios trying desperately to keep this show on the rails.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're
Making a
holding
show again? Yeah.
a one-man army right now.
It's yeah, it's supposed to be an Ask Me Anything show, not take over, but it's fine because I certainly, appreciate the support. But I feel like people are giving us cash to make us laugh at them by saying things like "you nasty."
You nasty.
Fortune cookies too often are advisory statements before they're actually fortunes. It's not predicting anything. It's not like you'll get a great job tomorrow. It's, stop and smell the roses. Like,
Yeah, I usually get just. I actually don't eat them that often because I don't actually like them. I always just end up eating them and just throwing them away, or no, opening them and then throwing them away because I don't actually like the taste of them.
yeah.
But
You
they're fun.
You can get custom fortune cookies. I've thought about doing that.
Oh, of like your face.
That's
What
kind of
do you
fun. No, I mean you can get fortune cookies and write your own
and put the
messages
message.
in them
Yeah,
and put them in the fortune, which is cool. Some people do that for like wedding receptions and stuff, which I think is kind of neat.
That is kind of cool. Probably already overdone at this point and tacky at this point.
Well, and I don't plan on getting married again. Since I'm
Well, no,
married,
because as we've established, you're a good father and everyone respects you because you've made love.
Okay.
Last one.
We've got
Last
to
one
finish
of the
this
night.
out.
Put
Okay.
this put this on a custom fortune cookie. This is Jar
Or
Jar
a
Ed
t-shirt.
sucks. $2. The end. You nasty Ed. You nasty. And that's it. Last call for super chats. We're done.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get going. Thanks a lot for watching, folks. I hope you had a good time with this. This was a bizarre one, but it was wild and crazy, and it was a fun change of pace. We'll be back on Thursday. We might be talking about YouTube's changes in some policies with monetization and in trying to make it more possible for people to use licensed music, and we'll talk about whether the new program is going far enough, if it's a good step in the right direction, and if any other major news happens, we might have to put that off once again. We didn't actually end up talking about that secondary topic, so that could come up as well, although maybe I just said enough about it at the beginning of the show in just mentioning Warner's is being sued for claiming that HBO Max has more subscribers than it does. They are crashing and burning hard, and that is a train wreck that I cannot stop looking at and talking about. It's getting wild. Will Disney someday just flat out try to buy them? Like, would they even be allowed to at this point? Is that like they almost had an antitrust thing with Fox, but like I don't trust that they wouldn't find some way around it again. And I don't know. I still think that it's possible that within the next 10 or 20 years you see Disney buying Warner Brothers and you actually have DC and Marvel on screen together. Like, I'm so cynical at this point, nothing surprises me. That might come up on Thursday. Dago says both and Ed suck. I win. Good night. Thanks, Austin. Thanks for the super chat. And Jar Jar Ed suck says $2 super chat says Austin bites expired hot dogs. I win. You nasty. Okay, I'm leaving. You guys are wonderful. Thanks a bunch for the support. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back with Austin tomorrow night for a request. See you Thursday for another Captain Logan show. I was Captain Logan. This was DJ Martinez. I don't know what this was. Goodbye.
Bye, guys. Really enjoyed the last show. It was great. It's a good send-off. It was a better send-off than Logan as Wolverine.
It's gonna be a what was I gonna say? It's gonna be a trivia question down the road. What was the final number for the Captain Logan show? 227. That's where they capped it on.
227 is where the Eds came in and just derailed everything.
Oh my gosh. Okay, bye, everybody.